Welcome to the LFG 1904 show. My name's Brendan.
My name's Rafa.
Today we're joined by Jace of the Fast Life Garage. What's going on, man?
What's up, guys?
This is a return episode. You're making like a yearly June trip.
That's right, dog.
You're making a yearly June trip out here to California, huh?
Yeah, if I can be here every June, that'd be a great time.
It's honestly not the best month either because it's gloomy. But you've caught a couple sunny days, right?
Yeah, it's been sunny. I'm okay with that because I just rode through the devil's taint to get here. Right? It's the hottest shit. I mean, I've ridden through the desert so many times in my life, but as I get older, it hurts worse. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the heat, man, it's just like it was only 105, and I'm like, I've ridden through it at like 115 before. 105, I was like, I might die. Like I was coming into Yuma, and I was like, you know what? This might be my last meal. I'm gonna go ahead and stop at Texas Roadhouse and get a steak.
I know exactly. Right next to behind the Chevron.
Yep.
I know exactly which Texas Roadhouse you're at. Dude, you gotta fucking stop.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna fucking lose my mind.
They just keep beaming at me.
Yeah, my kids live out there, so that's like the halfway point. I
Yeah.
always like try to run on fumes into Yuma and fucking get gas at that Chevron. So I know exactly where that one is.
It's not a bad spot, man. They had like covered parking, which I thought was like, okay, this is cool because I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting to park in the sun, come out, my seat was going to be hotter and shit.
Yep.
And but no, it was all right. And then, yeah, rolling in, as soon as I started climbing elevation, it just started cooling off, and I was like, okay, this is nice.
Yeah.
You know, it's like super hot, and you're in a T-shirt, and you're just like, goddamn, sweating everywhere. And as soon as the temperature changed, like your nibbles get hard.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And it's like, goddamn, when did it get so chilly? Especially like, so you know the part where you ride up on the windmills.
Yeah.
Then that fucking canyon, Diablo's Canyon. That's fucking good riding, dude. The coldest ride I've ever been on was through that for Dustin, which. Wish you were here, buddy. He's fucking got to grind it out at work. But he did engagement photos.
Oh,
and we
shit.
fucking rode from here. And it was like a whole fiasco of a day. We rolled out to the Salton Sea where Bombay Beach and like Slab City. Have you heard of those spots?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I figured much. You're an interesting guy. Yeah. So we rode all the way out there to do photos at Bombay Beach and then like kept fucking around. And then it was like 6 o'clock at night and the sun had gone down in January and it was 28. And I had the bike for like 4 months and I'm behind them like 60 miles an hour shivering. I got fucking 1988 deerskin fucking gloves with holes in them. Ian's wearing 2 pairs of gloves. Fuck you, you fucking prick. I asked him for a pair of gloves. He was like, nah, man.
Nah, here, I got an extra pair here.
Yeah, Dumb and Dumber style, right?
Is
I've
that-
been holding on to these.
Is that really as bad as you riding with Sebastian and like, we're going to hit the twisties and hit all these canyons?
That was pretty rough.
Dude,
too.
and then I walk into the gas station. He's literally in the fucking like in the bathroom with his hands like soaked inside of the water.
The hot water.
Like,
Yeah. That was Arizona
so
Bike Week.
stupid. Arizona Bike Week.
Yeah, because that's in April, so you still got some, like, it's even cooler out there in the desert.
Well, we had record like rainfall. So, and then wherever there was elevation, there was a fuck ton of snow. And this year was like, it was wet and it was cold this year in California. So we're going out for this bachelor ride. Him and the best ma'am at the wedding took the fucking highway, and I was like, oh yeah, we're gonna go up to the 79 and fucking drop in. There's this like, it goes from like the mountains and it drops into the desert and it's a sick ass road. Well, I didn't account for it being fucking freezing cold with snow on the ground. We had a guy go down, we had a guy run out of gas. That one wasn't as bad because the first one coming back with Dustin was my first exposure to the cold on the bike, and like I was such a new rider, it was fucking miserable, and I was not prepared. I was at least prepared for the bachelor ride.
You did not look prepared at all.
No, I mean I was having a real shitty time in the
He was
fucking
like,
AM PM
why do
bathroom.
I do this to myself?
Yeah. Yeah, I was literally like hunched over, like thawing out my hands, and this fool's like taking a piss, filming me and laughing, and I'm like, I just wanted to assault him in the shitty bathroom.
Yeah.
I hate you.
Yeah.
The desert's
Great.
it's a conniving bitch, right?
Ain't it?
Because in the sun, in the day, it's the hottest shit, and then at night, it's just like it's
Brutal.
insanely cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's such an extreme in it, right? So I came through once, stayed in Yuma one night, woke up because I wanted to do some photos in Glamis.
Yeah.
And then from there, I was going to go to Salvation Mountain because I've always wanted to check that out. I actually want to do a whole run, up the Salton Sea all the way up to like what is it, Indio or
Indio. Yeah.
Indio.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's just out of the way, right? So usually if I come to this way, I'm going to San Diego. If I go the north way, I'm going to LA, right? So it's
Right.
never like I'm gonna go to San Diego and then cut up. It's just
because you never make it to San Diego.
Yeah, exactly. But so I ended up riding through Julian this time, and this was in like early March. And everybody in Yuma was like, "Yeah, it's probably gonna be snow out there." I'm like, "Bullshit! I'm in the fucking desert out here,
Southern California,
dude." I barely got up halfway the mountain. It was covered in snow, like feet of snow. And I was going to Oceanside to hang out with Lucky Dave and all those guys. And dude, it was gnarly. And so yesterday with Juan, we went riding through Julian again to. Was it the Hideout?
Hideout.
Josie's.
Josie's.
That's his clubhouse.
Yeah, exactly. And stickers are everywhere, dude.
Yeah. He's the president over there.
So we had rode the Sunrise Highway, which was absolutely epic. Badass highway.
Yeah.
And then we went through Julian. I was like, oh shit, this town doesn't look the same without snow on everything and like plowed to the sides and stuff,
Yeah.
It's halfway decent, ain't it?
Yeah, it's not bad, Ben. But
I seen that you got that ride, and that's the pinnacle of San Diego riding right there. And you can literally take that range all the way up into Oceanside Escondido. It'll go all the way to
so
Cooler
many
Canyon.
like that Julian and like Sunrise Highway, like Hopotul, like
Palomar, Santa Isabel,
Crest, that whole riding.
Dude,
area
what's
where
crazy
you're
is
at
he could have
epic.
taken you past Julian to the Banner grade, and that's like a 10% grade all the way down into Borrego Springs, which is it's like where Cars was filmed. You know what I mean? It's the desert. Yeah. So you can get the beach, the mountains, and the desert all in one ride.
well, I mean, we ended up doing the mountains yesterday, and we ended up in Ocean Beach eating
OB.
tacos, and it was pretty dope.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude, you guys are spoiled down here.
Very.
But I don't know. We that's one thing that me and and Juan have been talking about is how I get it if you have a motorcycle and you live in a place like this, why you wouldn't leave. But and also I understand because you have like I said, you got the Devil's Taint on the other side of those mountains where to go see something different, you got to go another 1,000 miles once you cross over these mountains, right?
Yeah.
To go see something different.
Mm-hmm.
So I get it. I get it why most people in SoCal don't leave SoCal. And you have some great riding. So
You either got to go super north, so you got to go through the Central Valley, which is it's like desert adjacent, or you have to go through the Taint. Do you always shoot New Mexico, Arizona, all the way across?
No, I usually go through Maine. So I fucking live in Texas, dude. It's the only way to get across.
Well, you could go up to Colorado and drop back in. All right, that was a good one. I had that coming. What the?
That was good.
I deserve that.
Nah, fool, I go to Canada, motherfucker.
I have a.
I don't agree with their politics, so I go all the way up to Montana and around. I feel like it's usually it's different, every time. Like this time when I came out this way, I went to Amarillo first and did a podcast, and then cut at an angle down to Phoenix, down to Yuma, then over to here. So I got to ride a lot of New Mexico and Arizona that I haven't ridden before. And that way it's like, I had a little bit more time on this trip to do that rather than just jumping on the 20 to the 10 to the 8 or
the 40,
right? So I've done those a million times, and man, getting off the highway, there's a lot of cool shit out there, man. And I'm interested in like that part of America. It's funny. I met this guy on a Goldwing. You meet the nicest people on a Honda, right? And we ended up pulling up to this cafe in the middle of New Mexico together, and we're just like, I guess we're eating together. You know what I mean? Cool dude. Ended up being from Fort Worth, Texas, so right down the street from where I'm from. And we started chopping it up, and I told him how, like, I stayed in a Route 66 hotel the first night in Tucumcari, and got some badass shots with one of the neon signs with my bike, and I love that whole thing. But there's like this part of America that like people seem to forget about, that when the roads first got built and the diners and the motels and the whole concept, everybody in the country was traveling by car, and you had all these, it's basically like the Cars movie, right? And all these old towns, especially once you get out into the desert in New Mexico, West Texas, Arizona, they got these cool little motels that are done. They're fucked now. But you're just like thinking like, man, as someone that loves to travel on motorcycles, I wish I could have experienced it when these places were in their heyday. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I just dig that shit. And then I just go down these rabbit holes on YouTube, learning about the roads and, how culture has kind of created, industry was created by roads. And now we're in this space where people are like, electric cars driving themselves and everybody flies everywhere. And you skip over all these parts of the country, and I still like the feeling of going through those things. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird. It's my own little.
I like that.
That's my little boomer in me. You know what I mean?
What do you know about the 50 through Nevada? Have you been on it?
I've been on some of it. The Loneliest Highway.
Yeah.
I want to do the part of it that comes out of Utah into Nevada. I've only done it from about Winnemucca over to Virginia City.
Right.
Which is
For the
badass.
roundup?
Yeah. No, I just went through there last year when me and Jaden went through there.
Okay.
We had left our other group in Boise, and we dropped down, and we were headed to Reno. So instead of just staying on, 80 up there, we just jumped down to 50.
I got to check it out because it looks, I mean, the Loneliest Highway, I mean, it's got fucking some history.
Yeah,
and
Pony Express, yeah.
Yeah, and what I like about, we were talking about social media before this.
I'm sorry,
Go ahead.
I might be ignorant on it, but like, why do they call it the Loneliest Highway?
There's nothing on it.
There's nothing out there. It just like cuts through Nevada, and there's like,
Yeah, I mean, there's not a highway in Nevada that has anything on it, but this one has less than anything.
I was about to say, like,
it has less than nothing, if that
ain't
makes
shit out.
Yeah. There's Reno and there's Vegas.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and the rest of it is like oil fields and Unabombers.
It's just hot as fuck.
And the hills
shit.
have eyes, basically.
Yeah.
I'm somebody asked me what's in like the northeastern corner of Nevada. Couldn't tell you.
Salt Flats, basically.
Yeah.
That's more Utah, but that's kind of, what is it? Windover's right there. And it's kind of everything in Nevada, it's like their currency is casino, right? Yeah. So every town has an essence of casino in it. Like you go to Winnemucca. I mean, I don't know if Winnemucca has anything, but I know that Windover, which is on the border of Utah, they have a casino vibe there. So a lot of people either work within the casinos or something to that nature. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's kind of like a small towns on the open road. It's like truck stops are kind of like the Walmart that employs the locals and keeps the industry alive in those areas. That's why when they talk about automated trucks and things like that, there's going to be even less people between these big cities. Going from Albuquerque to Flagstaff, there's going to be less. Right. From Tucson to Las Cruces, there's going to be less because those truck stops end up keeping these towns alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, Loves and fucking what else?
Pilot, Flying
J's, yeah.
Yeah.
Sheets. Yeah. Damn. Dude, what about New Mexico? Have you hit any of there's like within Albuquerque, there's like 5 fucking national parks. Have you cruised any of them?
No, because Albuquerque's a shithole, so I just get through there.
I'm spending a weekend there in July.
Good luck.
I'm doing great. Doing a Friday and Saturday show there. I'm really excited because I've never been.
I think the only thing fun to do in Albuquerque is go to
Meth.
do the.
I was just about to say drugs.
No.
What? That was good, huh?
That was a good spot. Yeah. He's getting better at timing with it. Yeah.
I guess so.
They got that Breaking Bad tour.
Oh,
to
shit.
go see the house where they filmed like a lot of the spots. I think that'd be interesting.
Have you seen the clips of the house that are like, stop coming to our fucking house? Yeah. Stop taking photos here.
Well, they have that big mountain range right there, and they filmed Wild Hogs there in that little area. So I mean, there's cool shit to do in Albuquerque, but a lot of New Mexico, a lot of the smaller towns like the Farmingtons and things like that, it's just like not a bustling culture of prosperity, and so it can be depressing in some of those areas, and I don't mean to like say that as talking shit about it. I just think that it's just some beautiful land, but it's very barren. You know what I mean? There's not a lot out there, and then when you come through these spots, like you almost like, as somebody from Dallas, Texas, who has no terrain to speak of, I see places like this that has terrain. I'm like, how come this isn't celebrated more? How come you haven't turned this into some kind of, oasis of like, outdoors something? Why isn't it like Moab? Like, do you have to have arches for it to be a trendy spot for people to go to, or is there not enough Instagram, spots to go take pictures at to make this place alive again? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I mean, of course, New Mexico has places like Ruidoso and Taos and the, what do they call that thing up there? Like that.
Is it up north?
Yeah, it's like Red River, Taos, and another town that's kind of like this circle of I forget, they have a name for it, but it's like, a lot of ski towns and stuff up there and cool shit. Santa Fe's dope. Yeah. But once again, it's like there's a part of Santa Fe that's dope, and then it's surrounded by like
the hood.
Oh man.
And anybody in New Mexico, like when I've said this before, when I took the Greyhound through New Mexico to come to California, I saw my first desert. Saw the first sunrise in the desert. It was 6 a.m. The overpasses are all painted. Like, it's beautiful.
Let me tell you something I was thinking about coming out of Yuma and passing through the dunes. When I was a kid, up until about 22 years old, I thought all the desert was the dunes. As soon as that's the only thing that I consider to be a desert. Right? Through culture, cartoons, and I just assumed that, like, the Sahara Desert was kind of like all of Arizona was just sand like that.
There's
you know what I mean?
Sphinx somewhere out there, fucking pyramid.
Yeah, Raiders of the Lost Ark is going to just come emerging out of the dunes.
Indiana Jones about to fly off this bitch.
I just never knew the concept of it was like dunes in certain areas of the country.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny because there's dunes in the most random parts of the country.
Yeah.
You know, we have a small one out in West Texas called Mohannis, and then there's one in northwest Oklahoma. And then there's one in Michigan, and then, of course, there's some here, Colorado, and then up in Oregon.
I didn't until I started traveling to Denver more often. And I had already been to Denver like 3 or 4 times. It's the high desert. It's like Victorville, but cooler.
Yeah.
And like for anybody who knows, Victorville's not that fucking cool. It's like that's the pit stop before you get to Vegas, and Denver's just a big ass desert surrounded by big ass mountains.
Yeah.
I have a love-hate relationship with Denver because their airport's a fucking nightmare. It's constantly under construction.
Oh, first world problems, huh?
I know. I can't get a good fucking chicken sandwich in the morning. It's a pain.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. Denver's all right, though. It's all right. Fuck all y'all. This has been another. Dude, I like the lowrider. Are you liking it, though?
There's parts of it I love. There's parts of it that coming off of a bagger, it's a hard transition. You know, I think that, you know, all my boys, my homies, the Fast Life crew that we travel all over the country together, they've all been on Softails since we started traveling, right? And I've always been on a bagger. And now jumping down to the Softail, I kind of have a lot more respect for them, you know, because it's like, damn, y'all been doing all this traveling. My hands right now are numb from the vibration of that bike versus the vibration that's little to none on the Road Glide, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if it's arthritis or if I'm literally just like don't have as much feeling in the tips of my fingers. You ever hold like an air tool before, like a grinder for a long time, and eventually your hands start to itch? Yeah, that's what it feels like on the lowrider. But
that's what it feels like on the Dyna too.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's definitely the difference.
What it feels like in jail.
Jerking off all those dudes.
Yeah,
you don't got a button smash for me.
That was a good button spot, dude.
Fucking guy. But no, dude, the difference in bagger to fucking Softail.
Sorry.
Damn. I don't even remember what I was gonna say. Anyways,
did you ever see the bagger and Softail?
It vibrates so much more. Way more.
The reason why I wanted to do the Softail and make it my main travel bike this year is because I've had 4 M8 baggers. No, 3 M8 baggers since 2017, and there's nothing I can do to it other than my typical kit. You know, this bars, this seat, this exhaust, this paint job. Like I've done that so many times, and I've traveled on it so much that it wasn't like inspiring. It wasn't like, fuck, I'm so stoked to do this, you know? And the Softail, like when they first came out, like my buddy, one of the guys that travels with us, friends, we did his Softail. He had a Sport Glide. Right when they came out, we were at the dealership, picked it up, immediately took it apart, built it, did it all dope. And then he's been riding that bike ever since. Got damn near 60,000 miles on it now.
I like the Sport Glide. People hate on it, but I like it.
I love it too. I think there's things that they could have did differently, obviously, but
the rake.
I rode that bike a little bit, and I was like, this sucks. I'm not doing that. So I just been on the bagger. Now, when the ST came out, like I was, you know, I like it. I think it looks good. It's a good-looking bike. But it seemed like it checked enough boxes for me to be able to travel on. It had a good-sized fairing. It had the bags. Obviously, I was going to have to be more mindful of how I packed, which I have been. But one of the other homies has just a normal lowrider with Sport Glide bags, and then he put a tour pack on it on our travels last year. So riding next to him, I'm like, man, that looks fucking good. So I was like, well, I wouldn't be able to travel on this bike if I can't run a tour pack. But I don't like running tour packs at all because I don't like the way it looks on bikes. But the necessity, right? I have, and this is a flex, I have enough money in that tour pack to buy that ST and equipment. You know what I mean? And camera equipment, laptop, shit like that. So it's like I need something, and the Sport Glide bags are very narrow,
Yeah.
and there's lots of like shapes in it that kind of protrude in.
Yeah.
So I don't want to put camera gear in it. You know what I mean? So, like I said, it serves a purpose, and by seeing all that, it kind of made me feel like more open with doing it. And then, my relationship with Tommy from Cowboy Harley Davidson, it just makes it easy for me to get into a new bike. And I wanted to do something new. I wanted to experience something new on the road, because every bike that you travel on is a different experience than the one like before. Like a Dyna, I've ridden Dyna cross country, and it's its own experience,
Yeah.
versus an FXR or a Bagger and now a Softail. So I just don't think I'll ever do it on a Sportster, to be honest with you.
How do you like that Bassani exhaust?
I love it. I mean, the relationship that I've been building with Bassani over the last 2 years has been really awesome. Like meeting Daryl and doing the podcast with him, understanding the history behind that brand and how much they have leaned into the whole Dyna culture over the last 10 years. I respect that a lot, and I'm kind of proud to work with companies like that I feel like give back and create more opportunity, and they support a lot of people in the industry. So that's another good thing.
Right.
And honestly, I've never had any issues with it. I know people, there's not an exhaust company out there that someone has not had an issue with a bracket breaking or something like that, right?
Right.
It happens.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I personally haven't had that issue.
I run a Bassani. I've never had an issue with it.
Nice.
And, of course, like, if I have an issue with it, sometimes it gets fixed a little quicker than if a random dude does. So there's always that caveat, right?
Right.
But at the same time, man, I enjoy it. I do like the black chrome a lot.
You were the first one with it last year.
Yeah,
They put it on the fucking Road Glide. I come out, I'm like, damn, that looks.
Yeah, because when I came here,
Yeah.
I had just left Bassani
and had it
come
put
here.
on. Yeah. And I was like, that's new. And you're like, that's brand fucking new.
Yeah.
Ain't nobody got that.
Yeah. So
perks, baby, perks.
yeah, it's
You
like
earned
I
it,
said,
though.
yeah, that's what people they forget that.
Dude, that's also one of my favorite things about you, Jace, is how committed you are to the community
Yeah.
and how you have zero tolerance for people who take without giving back. And
Well,
we've had our own side conversations about that. Like, there's plenty of people that suck the fucking Harley community dry and give them fucking nothing in return.
Yeah, and they don't last long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what sucks is, I mean, there's so many ways someone can suck the life out of motorcycling, and it could be through the financial gains of like doing business with people, or it could be just making the scene suck and making people not want to be a part of it, therefore not riding motorcycles, right? So, like I said, pay it forward, man. Make this thing fun. Make it better than when you got it.
Yeah.
And if everybody had that mindset, then dude, this thing would be fucking amazing. You know what I mean? But
New Mexico, are you listening?
Yeah. There's just a lot, man. There's a lot to that, but obviously, like the bigger that my platform gets, the more opportunity it gives me to do more things. I don't make enough money yet to sponsor people or to financially do things. So I try to create opportunity through networking and bringing people together, exploiting people that deserve to be exploited. And yeah, there is gatekeeping in that, because I am the person choosing whether or not to exploit this person or not. And I'm using the word exploit. I don't mean it in a
Negative sense.
Yeah, in a negative sense. I mean like showing the world somebody that's doing something, right? Yep. Trying to get their message out to whatever audience I have. You know what I mean? Which, like I said, I'm not trying to be that guy that's like, if you want to get on the Fast Side podcast, you got to do this and this and this, and you got to be, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to do that. Like, if I meet you or hear about you and like find a way that I can have a conversation with you that's going to do you justice, then I'll 100% do a podcast with you.
Oh, yeah.
But there's also people that like I think are doing cool, but I don't know how to do a podcast with them that my audience would give a shit about it, right?
I was shocked when you asked me if I wanted to come on. I was
Yeah,
like,
me too. I'm just like,
I was like, damn.
no, well, you were in Dallas, man, and I had fun doing this podcast with you guys last year. And what even more so was how many people were reaching out to me, and I maybe reached out to you guys too after we did that podcast on y'all's channel last year, that was stoked that guys like you guys exist. So yeah, there's a lot. I have so many friends that are sober that come to our camp out that are in our world. So it makes sense to promote somebody that's becoming spokesman for that scene.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
A pillar in that area of the scene. So that's
And you guys have energy, which I don't know why we always think sober people are just like lethargic.
just square as fuck.
Sup,
fuck
guys?
around and I'll
Yeah.
fuck yo
Yeah.
chick, nigga. What's up, bro? Holla at me.
Don't do that.
What?
For your own fucking personal mental health, don't do that. Fucking, I've always taken your advice very seriously because I remember asking you, I get very ambitious. I'm like, I want to do a camp out. And you're like, attend some first.
Yeah,
so I'm going to do that first, but we're starting our own bike night. How is bike night going at Cowboy?
Nice. Oh, well, I don't know. That's Cowboy runs that.
Oh, that's not a Fast Life thing?
No, we just tried to help. Like, Austin itself is very club-oriented. It's really hard to create, in my opinion, it's really hard to create bike nights in the scene that we have in Dallas in a very club, sounds fucked up, but it's the best way I can put it, a club-infested area.
Yeah.
Right? Clubs, not all, but a lot of times I see when you have a very club-heavy area and you do a bike night, they take over. And they don't take over with this openness of everybody communicating, talking, shooting the shit, right? They
Sometimes
take over.
it's posturing.
It's a lot of posturing. It's a lot of groups and different tables, different areas that are just not, like, approachable, right? And I'm saying this because I think that in Dallas we have clubs, and sometimes clubs come to our event, but they come and they interact, right? And it makes it better. And also, I've been saying this a lot, I think that people that think that a successful bike night is 100 people, you're missing the point. I think a successful bike night is 20 to 30 people. Because you can talk to 20 or 30 people, and more people can gain something from going and being at that bike night.
Right.
When you get to a big number bike night, you get posturing. You get groups segregated from each other so they never communicate.
Yeah.
And the whole point of bike night is to meet people.
Co-mingle.
Exactly. So I've always said, like, look, and I even said this to the dealerships and the people that are brands that want to do bike nights. You as a brand can impact 30 people at a bike night. You can't impact 100 people. You can't converse with 100 people. You can't convert 100 people to come buy a motorcycle from you. But you can do it to about 30 people. And then those guys become ambassadors for your brand, and they go back and tell their friends and let it go that way.
That makes me feel so much better.
Yeah.
Because we're doing a bike night every third. Like this Thursday, we have a bike night here.
Mm-hmm.
And I was starting to get, like, we would throw an event and we'd have 200 fucking people show up for whatever else was going on, not just for us. Like, let me fucking clarify that. But then we'd do a bike night on a Thursday and I'd have 20 or 30 people. And
That's what you want.
Fuck, man. But now that I hear that, I'm like, I'm looking at it wrong. I need to fucking get a better
and
perspective.
And, make sure that the people that are supporting it look at it the right way, too, because that needs to be the opportunity that they have more of an opportunity to connect with 30 people versus the 100 people just looks good on the gram. Right?
Yeah.
It doesn't provide a better experience, you know? And if the people that are only choosing to go to something because it's looking like that, then they're just, they haven't been to enough things to understand why it's important to go to something that you have more connection at, right?
Mm-hmm.
The bigger events, I think that when you first get into motorcycling, like, you want to go to the wild, raging big things, right?
Yeah.
But you're also seeing that through the eyes of the people that have the connections to be behind the scenes, right? The guys behind, the ones behind all the things going on at Sturgis, right? And Sturgis is a bad example. That place is just amazing. But, like, say the big 200 people event here, and you guys have a booth, and you're behind the thing at the brawl, and you know what I mean? Like, you have a different pass to something than the spectator's going to get, right?
1000%.
So when you put that out there, they think they're going to get that, and then they come and they're sitting here behind this line, and there's this whole other thing going on over there. It doesn't translate. And I think that when it happens like that, you're going to have less people interested to come to the next one, as opposed to when somebody comes and maybe they're coming to hang out with the LFG guys, and you have the time to go converse with a lot of these people, and they get to meet you, and you get to ask them, hey, man, where'd you ride in from? Where's your bike? What, like, some way to connect with these people. It creates a better connection, right? And you get more people to come back. That's why our bike night, 5 years strong now, sometimes it's 3 people. Sometimes it's 100 people. But the thing is, it's consistently every week, and we have a relationship with the bar that we do it at, and that bar understands it as well. And, sometimes it's therapy for the people that show up. Sometimes it's like, let's just have a fucking good night.
Fucking
Sometimes,
ragers.
I'm not getting home till 3 a.m. Sometimes I'm home at 10 o'clock. I'm like, I guess I'm going to play a little PlayStation tonight, So I think bike nights can, with the world, like, being as big as it is now, and Dallas Fort Worth is like one of the biggest metroplexes in America, right?
Love it.
And so we have a lot of people there, but there's also a lot of people that aren't really like us. And I like the fact that we have a scene that's like us, where we don't have to go and we can dress the way we dress, and other older bikers aren't going, look at these yuppies over here, you know, they don't have leather on. They're not real bikers, you know.
Yeah.
I was telling you about earlier. It's the whole, you're not like me, so I'm better than you, you know, kind of shit that goes on, right? But, yeah, I think that bike nights should be, if people looked at it more like build 30 solid people that show up, and then that, like, be happy with that. Be content with that. And then try to make it a better experience for that every time. And then next thing you know, also don't make bike nights. Okay, let me give you, if you're putting bands at your bike night, that's not a bike night anymore. That's a fucking concert, right? If you're doing all this shit, like a bike night should be simple. Means it should be about bikes. If you drink, there should be a way for you to have a drink to loosen up, to be more open about talking to somebody. Don't make it a spectacle. Don't make it a circus, because then you're not going to do it all the time because it's so much work.
Right.
Fuck.
Then it becomes work.
It does.
Yeah.
Make it simple, about bikes, hanging out, talking about your bikes, doing that kind of stuff. Bike night should be a place where people can come together, meet each other, and make plans for the weekend.
Right. I be telling these motherfuckers all the time, keep shit simple.
Yeah.
Nobody
I'm
listen,
over here
man.
complicating it for sure. And I like that aspect of it too, is where I can bring people fuck with us, right? You like LFG 1904 as a brand. There's something you can relate to it. You show up, you meet another dude. You're like, hey, what's up, dude? My name's fucking Tom. Oh, cool. My name's Dick. Tom and Dick just became friends. And then Harry shows up. And then there's three bros that met at a fucking bike night. And now they're fucking going around.
I bet you if I hit a button, he's going to say some shit.
Nah.
That was button worthy, right?
Yeah, kind of.
I had a revelation here, sitting here. I'm like, damn, I've been looking at it. Well, it doesn't have to be an event. It's a hangout.
Do it like this. I would say if you do it weekly or bi-weekly or whatever.
Once a month. That's the other thing.
Well, if you do it once a month, you kind of got to make more of a spectacle, right?
Right.
Does doing it more often
I
create
think
consistency?
Consistency, I think, is where it's at, but it's also work. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, for 5 years, if I'm in Dallas, I'm at this place, you know, that it's
every Tuesday.
It's strain on a relationship. It's a lot of things, but you know, it's the commitment that you know.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in Dallas, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to be sitting at that bar, you know, which it's a restaurant bar. It's not like it's just beer and stuff like that, but I'm sitting there, and sometimes you're going to get the best of me, sometimes you get the worst of me. It depends on where I'm at. That might be my therapy for the weekend. I've had a hard weekend, a hard week, and I just need to go there and fucking have a good beer, and I'm good.
Right.
Feel better.
Right.
Or I'm just there and I'm having fun. Everything's great, and I want to share that fun with people, you know? So
that's true.
It's for me too. It's my getaway.
Dude, you really do have a lot of projects going on. You got the FXR tour going on.
Yeah.
What's the breakdown on that? Because you're building a chopper FXR?
Yeah.
And then, but you're also interviewing people around the country that are.
I'm not doing the interview we're not doing that. So we're just trying to build the groundwork right now, and the people that are involved are all great people in the industry. So, and they all know that they're helping create the groundwork for this, that we hope to keep going year after year. And it's just something that my buddy Justin, goes by My Machinist on Instagram. He came to me with the idea at the Down South camp out. We were hanging out, and we just kept talking about it, and you know, just decided to put it together, you know. And I'll be honest with you, I think some of it kind of came out of spite. Like, we're two people that create cool things that get a lot of attention, but yet a lot of the world, the powers that be, just never look at us and give us those opportunities. So we decided to create it for ourselves.
Fuck yeah.
And then we decided to bring people into it that we felt the same way. And then we leveraged some people that do get those opportunities to kind of help solidify and validate what we're doing, like FXR Division, who is also building a bike for Born Free, the Harley thing. And then having these guys in these relationships, and most people in the industry know me personally know that if I do something, I try my best. I put my best foot forward on it. I don't half-ass anything. So most people that we asked, or everybody that we asked, said, fuck yeah, we're 100% down. We know that you're not going to fucking half-ass this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And you're going to create it. And I'll be honest with you, it's been tough because of the time and whatnot to be a builder on it and the show, the person behind the scenes. So I'm really looking forward to next year and all the ideas I want to do to create a very awesome experience for the people that are watching it and the people involved in it. This year, you know, we're doing our best. Like, I'm literally going to sit down with Saddleman tomorrow morning to talk about more sponsorship stuff because they're super interested in it. Mm. So we have a lot of industry that wants it to happen, you know. So we're, you know, I'm just trying to make sure that we do it right, that we make it, you know, and nobody wins. Like, that's the thing that me and Justin are pretty proud of, is that there's no you got the best FXR. The winners of this are, let me paint this picture for you. Maybe you can appreciate this. So we have a group chat, right? Every builder's in this group chat. So everybody in a typical setting would be their competition, right? Well, this group chat is full of people helping each other build their bikes, whether it's knowledge or parts or services. And good amount of shit talking, right?
Yeah, healthy.
The way you win this thing is that you show up to Durango, trailer if you want, it doesn't matter, and you ride it from Durango to Born Free, Texas. It's 1,000 miles. And we're going to stop in Amarillo, and we're going to stop in Dallas at our pre-party at Strokers. So a 3-day ride to get there, and the way you win what we're having custom knives made that are going to be engraved with, like, FXR Tour, there's a lot of money to get these fucking knives made, but the way you win is by not having to put your bike on a trailer and making it. So it's in everybody's best interest for the class of one to make sure that everybody involved makes it start to finish, rather than, like, I'm the only one that made a bike 1,000 miles. Like, that, to me, that makes it look like you didn't have a very collective, like, when you travel on a bike with people and someone breaks down, you end up figuring out how to get this dude back on the road, right?
Right. It builds, it actually unifies everything.
Exactly. So we're trying to take the best things out of what was the biker build off in the chopper era, the heyday of TV stuff.
Right.
The hot bike tour, which was an amazing event for a lot of people, and we're taking away the toxicity out of it. Right. Which sounds super progressive, super gay.
Oh, yeah. Gay as AIDS.
Gay as AIDS.
Yeah, take off your affliction jeans and just be a brother.
Yeah, like it. Good one. There you go.
Another beautiful moment brought to you in part by Jace and his FXR Love Companions.
Love Companions. So the idea is that it's like you want to just, it's fun enough. It's fun enough to build a bike around some people that, you know, you never thought you would be building a bike against. Like, there's guys in there that this is their first real opportunity to show their ass. You know what I'm saying? And there's other guys that's been doing it for fucking 20 years. So I think that and then I just love the purpose of it. And I think that a lot of people outside in the industry that want to be a part of it love it too. And I just want to make sure that we keep it pure, that I do intend to make money on this. I don't think we're going to make any money on this now, but I don't intend to make money on this as far as, like, getting rich, obviously.
Right.
It's a lot of fucking work. And so finding a way to cover kind of the time involved in the meetings and you know, when next year I do intend to go to every builder and do a podcast and video and put together this compilation of things. Like, I do intend to make money on this, and so does Justin eventually, but it's not the purpose.
Right.
You know? And it sucks that you got to preface that now these days. Like, people want you to create stuff, but they don't want you to make money.
Right.
You know? And it blows my mind how many people expect the world to be, because they ride motorcycles and you ride motorcycles, it's unfair that you get paid to do it and they don't, but yet they don't do what you do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of work that goes into this shit.
Yeah, dude.
People miss that. It's like, bro, you quit your job and fucking chase your passion, and then you'll understand why I want to get fucking incentivized to do this.
Yeah.
To create more cool shit instead of just otherwise it just becomes bland.
The thing is that if my goal was only to make money, then I would only chase the things that made money. I wouldn't bother going to do a podcast with the guy that just has a good message. I would always chase the guys with the biggest followings, right? Because that's where I'm going to get the most views and get the most attention. So why would I fucking waste my time on someone that has 1,200 followers and, you know, dabbles in motorcycles? But it's a cool story.
Yeah.
But that does, you know what I mean? Like, why would I do that? Because I think that the point is to rise everybody up in a way that they're doing something cool. I know that in my career and every level of it, if anybody ever would have reached down to me and said, hey, man, I see you're doing something good, that was a confidence boost to keep me going, right? To keep me trying to kind of grow in this shit show.
Yeah.
As opposed to, if you don't ever look at these people, then you raise resentful
You make somebody
people.
good on a resentment.
Yeah, and I mean, they're still going to make it regardless, but the last thing you need is for man, there's this good rap song. And I've tried to reference it.
You referenced it in another podcast. I forgot what it was.
I forgot what it was, but he
I
said,
tried to look it up too.
young, you said it a while ago, fed up because OGs didn't feed us, right? Now it's something about taking it, right? So it's like because of the OGs of this thing, they don't reach down and see people doing good shit and kind of pump them up or give them a little bit of knowledge, a little bit of help, a little bit of something. It's like they're still hungry down there, and they're going to get there eventually.
Right.
But now they're going to get there out of spite.
Hella.
You know, and you'd be like, you know what, fuck all y'all. You know, and I'm kind of that way. I'll be honest with you. I have a lot of spitefulness in me. It's something I struggle with. I try not to let that overtake my complete nature of being, right?
Right.
But, man, my journey to get here has been fucking tough,
A lot of hard work. You said like 20 years?
Yeah.
Over 20 years. Right?
20 years in January, I'll be in the motorcycle industry.
Damn that.
And you also came up in an era where it was the magazines, and then it was the internet wasn't the thing. A lot of people didn't want to turn the page, and you fucking, on a resentment, built Fast Life Garage. Because you bailed on the homies with money. Not really the homies.
Yeah.
You bailed on those motherfuckers and then kicked it off out of the fucking garage.
Yeah, that's the spite I'm happy for.
It's
you know, those kind of things. I think anybody needs to have those like it's cliche, like, right? All your failures aren't failures. It's just learning, right?
Lessons learned, yeah.
So, you know, learning my worth. And that's one thing that I think me and Juan were talking about this. A lot of people, when I talk about paint, I'm sure it's off-putting to a lot of people because it comes off very arrogant and whatnot. And people might think that I think I'm the best painter there is, and I do not think that. But I know I'm the best at what I do, like what I do. And I know that if I can sell a paint job for $10,000, then I fucking will. And just because you can't afford a paint job for $10,000 doesn't make me a piece of shit.
Nope.
So fuck off.
Yeah.
That bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'm trying to maximize what I'm capable of doing and what I'm capable of making. And, you know, when I started in this stuff and I was painting all the homie shit in the garage and just for fucking a 12-pack of Dr. Pepper and a good time, that was cool. But I didn't have kids. I didn't have a wife. I didn't have a mortgage. I didn't have all this shit. I didn't care about my credit score, dude.
Right.
None of that shit. It was just about that. Now, I have all this responsibility. I'm 40 years old, dude. I can't, you know, like a mistake in your 40s versus a mistake in your 20s is detrimental, man.
Oh, it fucking changes everything.
So, you know, with that being said, like, I have to make sure that I spend my time wisely, maximizing the most profitability I can make to continue to do stuff. My podcast makes money, but it does not make enough money to cover every aspect of my life. So, but it takes up a lot of time in my life. Therefore, I need to make as much money painting stuff as I can to cover the cost of doing this, right?
Yeah.
And the other thing is that, like, all the other painters that I fuck with, that I'm friends with, they charge what I charge. Schultz, Valley Customs, Jeremy Lucky Strike, all these bad motherfuckers across the country charge what I charge. The new guys coming up, you know, which I have no problem mentoring and helping them out with all the knowledge that I have. But when they tend to talk about me like, oh, who does this guy think he is? Like, just because, you know, he's who he is, he can charge. Like, no. Look.
That's pretty audacious.
A lot of people are like that, though. You know, because paint is one of those things where you're hustled all the time, right? If you're a painter, then you're something that people want. You know, oh, man, I'm going to be that dude's friend. He's going to hook me up.
Mm-hmm.
Half of my life has been trying to decide if the people around me are real or they want something, right? And it's funny, right? Pain is not detrimental to your existence, right? But it's a want, and it's a want that gets people a lot of attention, and it gives people that validation that they want through having a cool motorcycle, right? So, yeah, people want that, and especially if they see you with it. You know, here I am, a broke-ass kid with a badass painted bike, and here you are with all your shit together, but you can't really afford a paint job. But you felt like you deserve to have that because of your life that you have, right?
Right.
But yeah, so, you know, with the young guys, like, they just need to understand that, like, I'm trying to set a goal for you to try to achieve and get to. And I don't think that it's something that happens overnight. And I think that if you get it overnight, it's like, what's that thing where, you know, they say if you blow up too quick, then you just fizzle out. You know what I'm saying? It's a long journey to get to the top of any industry that you're in. 10,000 hours, right?
Yep. To master your craft.
I felt like I deserved to be at the top 2 years in at that time.
Right.
Fuck no, I wasn't. I did not deserve to be there at all. I didn't put in the time. I wasn't good enough. I was just good enough for my circle that I was in because they were pumping me up, making me feel like I was the best shit in the world, which I appreciate. But that also made me way more cocky than I should have been at that age, right?
Yeah.
Now I am cocky about it, and I deserve to be because I'm fucking good at what I do, right? I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not saying that I'll kill anybody in this game with paint. I'm not saying that. There's so many. I can name 1,000 painters that are better than me at certain parts, if not everything. But that doesn't change the fact that I'm confident in what I do, and I know what I'm capable of, and I know what it's worth. So
my best friend Zach Rude Paint got married this weekend. That's the guy whose wedding I was in, and I've watched that dude start from nothing, and he's in that interim, right? Like he's got some credibility, he's getting some hype, but he also isn't that as confident. So I got to gas him up, because he thinks everything he does is a piece of shit until like he sees people around it and they're like, damn, that's really good. But then he'll still pick it apart. But then he'll comment. So he's still finding his true identity, right? Like what makes a Fast Life paint job a paint job? What makes a Schultz paint job a paint job? He's got to find what makes a Rude paint. And honestly, it's going to be being loud. That's what he likes. So he's carving that out, but he's also seeing all these other people that he's inspired to start doing their own thing. And it's like they're nowhere near where he is or where anybody else is, but they're trying to charge what he's charging. He's like, bro, you got to, to me personally, he'll be like, dude, you got to put in their fucking time, bro. You can't be like polishing turds and charging what I charge. And then at the same time, they're charging more. And he's like, who the fuck do you think you are?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, it's one of those things, too, where, OG told me a long time ago, it's like, you're never going to get down the street if you stop and bark back at every dog that barks at you. You know what I'm saying?
Damn.
100 plus. Yeah.
So it's like one of those
fucking buzzer now.
You don't get a buzzer at it.
Damn, I like that one. I'm taking that.
I told you that shit 1,000 times. I told you
he been done did that. So I would say, like, now I'm on a podcast. I have a platform where I speak and people, some people listen to it, right? So, but when I was coming up in this thing, like, the louder that I was, the more it pushed people away, because realistically, most people don't give a fuck about what people have to say, right? And if somebody's doing something, whether that I think it's good or bad or whatever the case may be, like, what is my fucking opinion? Like, what is it, right?
It's exactly
that. People that don't follow a natural course of growth, they might get lucky with a couple good high-paying jobs because they kind of worked it, but ultimately the work always speaks for it, right? So if they are producing good work and it is clean and the customers are happy and they paid more, then motherfucker, you figured it out, right? If you don't, the nature will correct itself in that. You'll see people fizzle out. You see it all the time on the internet. They do a couple bad paint jobs, and they fizzle out. It sucks and it's unfortunate, but that's growing pains, man. And it's growing pains nowadays when, back in the day when I started in this shit, you did a bad paint job, it just circled the bike nights. Now it's all over the fucking internet.
The world.
So I don't envy these people, but I always tell them, I've always said, like, I want to give, like Paint Hub, for a lot of people, they do classes on teach people how to paint. I want to teach people how to fucking operate business, because I'm one of the more successful painters in this industry that makes good money, that has a good reputation for what I've produced. I'm honest. I'm open to people. I tell them what's going on. They send me, hey, I need you to do this. I'm like, I can't do it till October. Oh, man, can you do it now? No. Oh, okay. Well, I want to get on the books for October. Cool. Most people would be like, okay, well, I don't know if I have work in October. I'll take it now, and then I'll figure it out. And then they can't figure it out because they got a wife, and they got kids, and they got this, and they don't have enough time in the day to do this all at the quality they need to do it at. Right?
And they overbook themselves.
And they overbook themselves, and they put themselves in bad spots where it's us or them, and it's always going to be them.
Yep.
In any industry, it's always going to be the other person. So don't put yourself in a position where you have to do that, because then you get a bad reputation, right? And then now you have to fix what you did or move to another city.
Yeah.
Or rebrand or some shit like that, right? There's just a lot to it, man. It's not easy to do something creative, and being a creative person is very, very vulnerable. Like you're on an emotional roller coaster, which is something I like to say that I got from Jeremy at Lucky Strike. It's like every paint job, you're at the bottom. You're emotionally like unsure of yourself and your abilities, and if this is going to come out good. And as you get closer to the finish in it, you're rising up that roller coaster, man. And at the top, when you finally see it and you're like, fuck, this is sick, you're fucking on cloud 9. It's a super high and a super low, and it's very difficult for artists to be that way. And I think that's all artists. Musically, video, people painting, anybody creating things goes through the emotional roller coaster of that, right?
Am I any good?
Yeah.
Am I as good as
Constantly
they say I am?
questioning. I mean, I constantly question myself with that. Like,
Same.
you know, and it's just the more you become familiar with the processes, the more that you get through them easier.
Yeah.
It's like
repetition.
It's like, it's a lot of anxiety is what it is, right? And I think that in order to maintain and get through these things, you have to be comfortable in that anxiety. You have to know that it exists, and you have to know that you have the skills to get through it to the next side of it, right? But people that avoid anxiety and stress all the time because they don't like how it feels, they never achieve anything.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Like, and then, quite frankly, I don't want to hear you complain about it.
Yeah, I mean, I am
Take
a
the risk.
fucking master complainer. Master. I could put a master class on complaining because I love it.
Yeah, but you also do the things.
Yeah, complaining is a process that I do in order for me to psych myself up to go ahead and do the shit.
I'm the same way.
You know, but yeah, complaining. I mean,
don't sit in your own shit.
Yeah.
I just do it, sprain my ankle, and just get back the fuck up. Just keep going.
You gotta. That was another thing I wanted to bring you on to talk about is like, how do you get to? Because you've done it so many times now. How do you get to that jumping off point and push yourself? Like when it came to starting the Fast Life Garage on your own? Because what we get a lot of is people being like, well, how do I do? You just fucking do it, bro. I don't know.
Okay, yeah. It was kind of what we were talking about earlier before you showed up. There's two sides of it, right? There's two ways I think that a lot of the things that I have were created. One of them was created out of necessity. Like, you know, it's like the whole John Wayne throwing the kid in the pool to swim, right? I think it was John Wayne.
It sounds like my grandmother.
Yeah.
That's how I learned how to swim.
Yeah, that's how I learned how to swim.
So
Cape
there's
Cod.
that. And so when I started the Fast Life Garage off of Live Fast, which was my company before, it was because I lost it all, and all I knew how to do was this. You know, I couldn't, you know, I was making $60,000, $70,000 a year at this company that I had started, and then just went, you know, it just fell apart through, you know, creative differences, if you will. And here I am now. Everything that I had, my shop, everything was now theirs, and I lost it through ignorance and all on me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like, fuck, I don't even think I can get a job at AutoZone. I don't know if I'm valued. Like, I'm only valuable in this one thing I know how to do. You know, I knew that I had to figure something out, and then Fast Life was spiteful on Live Fast, right? And man, honestly, there's a couple key things that happened. I think I talked about it, might have talked about it in the last podcast we did, but when the internet saw what happened to our brand, and the internet, meaning all the other people in the country, asked me to start going to their place to paint, it just changed my perspective on business. As before, I was thinking about Dallas-Fort Worth, like, how do I get everybody in Dallas-Fort Worth to come to me to get paint work? And then this happened. I'm like, fuck Dallas-Fort Worth. How do I get everybody in America to come to me?
Yeah.
Right?
I want a fool in Abu Dhabi to hit me up for a paint job on
Yeah.
a bike he'll never ride.
Because when you find people outside of your hometown, this is another one. You might like this one. I've been working on it. I'm still working on my delivery, but I feel like if you ever want to reinvent yourself, you can't do it around people that already know you from who you were, right?
Yeah.
So when you're
Too soon. That wasn't it. He didn't deliver the line.
well, I thought it was.
Hey, I just want you right now, eyeballs.
What?
I want you to enjoy sitting in this chair because it will never happen again.
Anyways,
You thought I was gonna hit the button right there, huh?
the that's one thing I've realized is that it's really hard to elevate yourself. You know, in regards to like what I do is paint, right? I've already painted bikes for people in Dallas, and they're used to paying $1,500 for a paint job. How the fuck am I gonna ever charge them $5,000? They're already used to who I was. They're never gonna value me the same like as the guy that they're willing to pay $5,000 for, right? 300% more than what I charged them originally. So I got to find a new market, and I have to come into that market as the person I am going to be, right? And so I find it hard that, you know, if you really want to become something new, Or say, for instance, if you're trying to become sober, you're trying to change your life, being around that same crowd, it really resonates. Like, how do you fucking change your life if you're doing the same shit? It's the same thing. I just regurgitated the words, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to, get to a point. And I remember going to NorCal and painting with one of my boys up there. And I went up there cheap as fuck. Like, yeah, dude, I'll do all this for $1,500. He goes, dude, ask $3. Like, bro, everybody around here is doing it for $5. Like, if you're willing to do it for 15, then you're going to be stoked at $3,000.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I will be. And then even now, like, that confidence that he gave me allowed me to start carrying myself a little bit more confident, which it's funny how when you carry yourself with confidence, it pushes people away who are threatened by it in a sense of like, I can't get over on this guy. And the people that respect it end up becoming your new customers because they respect you as a person and your craft.
Yeah,
right?
They don't know any other way.
Yeah, they're like, oh man, this dude stand up. He's carrying himself in a way that makes me confident that he's going to do what he says he's going to do, right?
Yeah.
If you're unsure about yourself, then they're going to make the customer feel like they're unsure that you can create what you're promising them that you can do.
Or I can push up on this guy.
Exactly. I can get over on him. I can make some money on him, or I can get something really cool and not have to pay a lot of money.
I'll keep adding to it. And then that's the other part of that is you go. For your situation, for instance, you go to NorCal, you start charging $3,000, you start charging $5,000. Then everybody in Dallas-Fort Worth is like, oh, fuck, Jace is painting fucking a fuck ton of bikes, and he's charging more.
Yeah.
Now you're the $5,000 guy. Then you become the $10,000 guy.
Yeah.
But you couldn't have done that staying in that ecosystem.
You got to get out, and you got to broaden your horizon, and it's a lot of work to grow in this industry. If you think that just being on Instagram is going to do it, then you're fucking wrong. Because you have to make relationships. You got to be at Sturgis, at Born Free, at Arizona Bike Week, at all these events. You have to be there, and you have to be there for a long time. I just like to equate it to you're planting a fucking huge garden, and you never know what's going to sprout, but you know that you got a lot of food in there, right?
You got seeds planted,
and some of it never grows, but some of it might grow and turn into like a fucking tree that sprouts a lot of shit off of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you just never know. You know what I mean? And so that's one way I think that like starting something or getting, you're forced into it. You just got to fucking do it, right? And that's a good way to do. I mean, it's a good way to kind of go at it. But I'm a little older now. I'm 40 years old. This happened whenever I was 30. So 10 years ago, just over 10 years ago, actually 2023?
Yep.
10 years ago. In this fucking month, right now.
Damn.
Is when I sold my shares away from my company.
Of Live Fast. Right now.
Damn,
dude.
Because I remember my first cover magazine came out July 4th.
Oh, damn, dude.
With the bike that I built and painted at this company that just gave all the advertisement to them.
Dude, wow. So 2013, June of 2013,
yeah.
I was 2 months post being locked up for the longest I'd ever been. I did 9 months fighting a case, beat it, got out. And I was like, in June, I'd stayed sober out of jail, and then Cinco de Mayo, I started drinking again. And I got the night of Cinco de Mayo 2013, I got fucking shithoused and started 2 fights in 2 different bars.
Wow.
Yeah, and somehow made it home. But fucking 2 months later, I moved out here.
Oh, okay.
And if I look at my life, and I've been out here ever since, if I look at my life from 10 years ago, holy fuck, dude.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
And now I turned 33 on the 12th, and I'm like, fuck, dude.
I remember, man.
Still can't keep a room clean.
Still can't. Now that I'm thinking about this 10-year kind of piece, I had signed a lease on a loft in downtown Dallas. I had always wanted that.
Baller spot.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it wasn't that expensive, but it was cool without the amenities that most people wanted. It was a big open space. There was bricks and had fucking a view, and no chick could resist having sex with me in there. Straight up.
That's right.
And that's what took place there at first until I met my wife.
That's right.
Don't get married. No, but it's like being in there. So I signed the lease, or I put the deposit down, and I was moving into this, and simultaneously just lost my business and my income, and all my business and name was still going to my old brand, right? So I had to reinvent myself. I remember I was hustling, fucking, I knew a lot of body shops, so I just went back and did what I did back in 2006 and walked into a shop, said, hey, man, my name's Jace. I can airbrush and custom paint, do flames, all this stuff. If you ever have any kind of jobs you want to do here, I can, hit me up. Some people did. And then whenever it was Super Saw, I'd do the same thing. Like, hey, man, I'm Jace. I can polish and buff cars. And it sucks because I'd go in there and do the airbrush work and make $100 an hour. And then I go buff cars, I make $15 an hour. And spend the same time. And I might walk away with $500 one day and $55 the other day. It sucked.
Yeah.
Right? But then doing that, stayed consistent, using social media, because this is right whenever I started busting out social media on my personal page, Fast Life Jace. And, I remember borrowing money, to just $20 from my grandfather just to get through the week, right? 10 years ago today,
Fuck.
And, it's kind of an epiphany now, just sitting here remembering that, because I haven't really thought about it like that. In 10 years, I went from losing my brand to building this one that I have now, all on my own, with the help of my friends and my wife and the people that support me, of course, and started this podcast 5 years ago. Met my wife 4 months after this thing took place.
September.
I reached out to her on Instagram in December.
Shot in them DMs.
Right when Instagram started doing DMs. They didn't do DMs at first.
It was just comments.
What up, girl?
I hit her with a meme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There we go. I've been putting my boy on game. He's getting back in the fight. And on the Tinder, I was like, bro, lead with the GIF. Lead with the GIF. We're here for the laughs. We get them laughing. Come on. It works, baby.
And what simultaneously happened is it was a tough 6 months. I got through it. Fortunately, someone like I had a big wheel bagger. It was dialed in, and someone backed into it in a gas station parking lot and drove off. And I had full coverage, and it was on video, so nothing looked weird. Of course, the car had paper tags that didn't go anything. That's why they drove off. But I got a check from there, a nice one.
Yeah.
And that sustained me for 3 or 4 months. While I was still hustling and making.
That gave you that jump.
Yeah, it helped me out because obviously I fixed everything on my own accord because of paint and whatnot.
Right.
But that helped me through it. And then in December, I got reached out from a company in North Carolina to sketch paint jobs for their painters. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it for $200 a sketch. I'll do it. And bam, I'm just sitting there in my loft drawing shit, making some money, right?
$5 a day, baby.
Yeah,
paying the bills.
And then next thing you know, he's like, man, I don't think they can do this. I got these 2 really high-end bikes that we're about to do. Can I just fly you out? And this is the first time I ever flew out, and I didn't make that much money. 3 weeks, I made $3,000, right?
That's pretty good. Well, not for your caliber work.
Then it was fucking the world, right? Because it gave me enough money to come home, fly myself to go meet my wife in Florida, come home, and then still fly her to move to Texas, right? So it allowed me to do that, which I'm grateful for. And then, of course, 4 months later in May is whenever I went to NorCal first. And that's whenever I started to take myself more seriously as an artist. Instead of doing a lot of work, I started focusing more on doing quality work.
That was the seed.
Yeah.
Nice.
So, we were talking about, Rafa and I were talking about when we first got in here was I understand how to do things now. I understand how I operate. I understand how I grow, right? When I started the podcast originally, it was cringe. Myself, I wasn't still not the best at a lot of things I do, but I'm better than I was, right? And I know that by doing 300 plus episodes that I have gotten better, my content has gotten better, and the experience listening or watching my podcast has gotten better. Well, that's the same mentality that I'm trying to take into YouTube. I'm not good at that yet, and I don't feel good at it yet, but I'm forcing myself to be vulnerable, to put it out there, and to take whatever positive comments out there and use that as fucking, fuel to go and create the next video. And I got a fucking dope life, man. I really do. And if I just don't want to exploit it in a way that's pretentious,
Yeah.
I want to show people that I'm grateful for it, but I also earned it. That's the hard thing, right?
It is a balance. People think because we sell T-shirts, we're fucking rich. It's like, this is a labor of love now. But if I remain authentic, and I never got into doing this with the boys for fucking money. I didn't think we were going to get rich over this.
Yeah.
And because of that, I feel like it's grown how it has.
Yeah, and, a lot of things don't start for money. I didn't start the podcast for money, but I did hope that one day it would make money.
Yeah.
Right.
I didn't start custom painting originally for money, but I intended on making money doing custom paint. So it's like, that's the one thing I was talking about earlier, where I feel like people, they want you to not want money. And why? Why do they not want you to charge more 3 years after you painted their bike originally? Why do they want it to be the same price? But yet at their job, they want a cost of living raise every year, every 6 months. They want another, 15 cents or $2 or whatever the case may be. So it's like, when you start getting around people, when your customers become people who want you to make more money, who want you to succeed, that only helps further the confidence. And that's what I have right now. I have a customer base that is my biggest supporters, right? They're rich, straight up. They're rich. I mean, they're fucking rich, dude.
Them oil field boys, huh?
I mean, I don't know what they do. I don't care what they do. They're good people.
They pay on the 1st and the 15th player.
Good people, man.
Are you still picking the paint jobs you want to do now?
Oh, yeah. Always.
That's fucking awesome.
And so, but it's not even so much that they're rich. It's just that they have a respect for me, and they treat me not like the help, right? They treat me like I'm equal to them, even though they make way more money than I do. They respect what I'm good at that they're not good at. Mm-hmm. And, man, it just, once again, it's another thing that just really helps my confidence, and it probably comes off as arrogance to certain people, but they just don't understand all these different things and where I was and how I've grown and built myself up through friendships, business relationships, and hustling to be here, to be, not going to lie. I mean, sometimes, like, the way I'm talking about myself is also so that I don't put myself in a very negative mind space about myself. So I have to be like, yo, man, I'm not doing shit for fucking $1,500. My helmet started $3,000, so let's go.
Yeah.
That's super cocky and arrogant. But it ain't fucking false.
Yeah. And it didn't happen overnight.
I remember painting $200 helmets and $150 helmets.
And I hear helmets suck.
They do. But, when you fucking get the right money for it, and your customers make you fucking proud to do that for them, and people are buying your art, not your fucking materialistic stuff, man, as a painter, fuck, dude, it's a great place to be. When you paint a bike for somebody on an FXR, and instead of them just repainting it, they're like, hey, man, I want to go a different direction this year, but I want somebody to have this paint job. I don't want to paint over it. Anybody want to trade tins? You know what I mean? That's a customer or somebody out there showing respect to the art that you created. If someone's willing to pay you $10,000 to paint a bike and just paint right over it, they never valued your art.
No.
It was never about art. It was about them having the coolest exhaust, the coolest paint job, which is just another thing on a shelf to them, right? But paint is the only fucking thing that's handmade on a bike these days.
Yeah.
Right? It's the only thing that's not on a shelf that's being recreated by someone's hands with fucking things in cans, liquid. And it's like the industry just doesn't even, like, paint is such a common thing in the world through collision centers and everything on the wall that nobody thinks about paint as a complicated thing to do, right? And so I think that a lot of painters are undervalued and whatnot, and that's hence why, when I did a podcast on this trip, man, the first one I did was an OG painter up in Amarillo. Dude's got more covers of magazines from, like, the 90s to now than anybody I've ever seen in my life. He said he's never made more than $5,000 to paint a bike in his whole life.
Wow.
Damn.
And I'm just like, why? And he's like, I just didn't have the confidence to ask for it. Essentially is what it boiled down to.
Right.
And I'm just like, bro, like,
well, we're gonna have some golden years here.
I mean, he's an older man now. He's
Right.
kind of, I wouldn't say he's dated. He's still fucking super talented, right? But
Right.
I just, man, like, I don't know, man. Like, I mean, he's nationwide known as this. How do you change the way people think you are if the whole country knows you as this guy that does it for whatever,
Well, he takes a relationship like the one he has with you, and he says, hey, I want to paint somebody's I want to get out there and rebrand, re-facilitate.
Well, what a lot of people might look at that as and go, well, this dude is, everybody likes that idea, the romantic idea of the biker people that are working on each other's bikes in the garage and doing stuff. And that exists even in my life today. I still enjoy that as well. But like I've said to so many people, if you want to come to the garage and hang out, change your oil, we'll throw some bars on your bike, put a fucking quarter fairing on, do the meme thing, right? That's easy. That's a night having a couple beers or whatever, just laughing, having a good time. If you want me to spend 40 hours of my life painting your bike because we're boys, you're not my fucking friend. For free, 40 fucking hours. I don't have vacation time. Right?
I don't have 401k.
I don't have all this shit. So I can't sit there. If I take 40 hours off to go do this, I had to bust my ass times 2 to make sure I can cover everything in life to be gone.
Right.
And it's like, I always said this, like, if I sold products, like if I had a wall full of risers and bars, right, that doesn't take shit to hand you that riser and give it to you for what I got in it. Like, yeah, it cost me, these risers go for $500. Each one cost me $300. You're my boy. $300. Just cover the cost.
Yeah.
Everybody's like, that dude took care of me, right?
Yeah.
If I spend 4 weeks painting your bagger and I'm charging $12,000 is what I charge to do that, and I cut $4,000 off of that,
That's the hookup.
and you're still like, yo, man, like,
People, but it's the same shit you talked about last time, right? Same dude who will put fucking 10 grand into a stereo system, but wants to fucking cut corners on his paint.
Yeah, and I mean, let me be clear. Like, I'm not. I haven't had this issue.
I don't think you have.
I haven't had this issue. This is just
sturdy dudes around.
This is just something that I did have growing up that I realized real quick, and then, it goes to what I said earlier. Like, I have a lot of responsibilities, and 40 hours of work is a lot of time off. And I have a lot. My life is it's not as expensive as it is out here, but things cost money out there. My shop costs money. The rent costs, the electricity, everything. Everything costs money. So,
like, just because you're not there doesn't mean that the shit don't cost money. Like,
yeah, well, it's not. How do I word this? I always said this, and my buddy King Tony was joking because I said on a podcast once. He goes, "I'll take off work and come hang out with you." I always used to say, like, you take off work for 2 weeks and come hang out with me while I paint your bike for free. You know what I mean? That way you can. But if you're willing to take off the time, because you don't need to make the money, so you can just take the time off. Then why not just fucking pay me?
Right.
100.
Yeah.
So if I'm not saying, hey, take your vacation time. I'm saying don't make a fucking dime for 2 weeks and come hang out the shop for that free paint job, because I'm not making shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can financially do that, then why not just pay the person?
Right.
Pay me that 2 weeks worth of money. If you're making 12 grand in 2 weeks, we shouldn't even be having this goddamn conversation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not so much that it's like it's the cost of everything, man. It's like for me, it's like if I charge $12,000 to paint a bagger, I'm not making $12,000 in my pocket.
No.
That is the cost of doing everything, right? That's, I can do every aspect of the paint job, but if I do every aspect of the paint job, then other aspects of my life I don't have time for it. I don't have time to do the podcast. I don't have time to do all this because I have to do that. So I have to pay someone to come in and polish the bike. I usually pay someone to come in and sand the bike.
Really?
If I'm capable of doing a helmet all by myself in 3 or 4 days and making $3,000, but I spend 2 days sanding a bike, that is stupid. You know what I'm saying?
That's where my homie's getting fucking caught up. He's like, I got to sand it. And like what people don't know, the cut and buff.
Yeah.
Like, that's a day, 2 days, sometimes longer. And if you burn through the clear coat, like, homie, you got to go fucking back.
Yeah.
You're going back 3 days. Like, that's a huge fucking piece of it.
There's just a lot of going on there. And not even to mention, like, I take a lot of pride in the designs that I put on bikes. So I spend hours in my garage sketching, till I'm fucking stoked about it. And then I send you, dude, I'm got to convince you to let me do this now. But I'm like, dude, just trust me. This is going to be sick. I see it all. I might not be able to make you see it all, but trust me, if you like what I do, then this is going to be it. But it's just a lot of work, man. And I don't want to sound like I'm complaining, because I'm really trying not to. I wish people understood that, like, the difference between what hooking things up are, right? It's different when you have a connection and it doesn't take you any time to help somebody out, which I do that all the time. I do that all the time because it's nothing, right? But when you're asking for 40 fucking hours of my life for free, that's when you're being an asshole.
1,000%.
You know what I mean? That's when you're not valuing the fact that I'm a human too, that has responsibilities, that has a wife, has kids, has needs, all that shit.
And more importantly, there's another guy who's willing to pay me to do that. You know what I mean?
Like, I get that all the time with, like, the meal preps.
Oh yeah,
bro. Like, first off, my meal preps are like $9 a meal.
Mm-hmm.
Like right now in this market, like, that's fucking really
cheap.
it's really fucking good.
It's $12 for a fucking Big Mac combo.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? It's really affordable and everything like that. And then I'll get guys that'd be like, well, that's a little pricey. I was like, 5 meals a week for $45 is pricey. And you want me to hook you up on top of that.
Yeah.
When I have customers that there's this one lady, she literally gets 10 meals. She doesn't care what it is. She just wants extra protein, extra veg, and she shoots me $20 a meal.
Damn.
And she's like,
that's the thing is there's people that out there. It's the whole thing. Like I hope to, and I said this on the last part. I hope to be at that point in life where I can do more to help people out.
Right.
You know what I mean? Financially, it'd be dope to be able to see, an up and coming stunt rider or an up and coming builder that I can do something on a financial thing, or somebody race and I can paint a helmet for them for free and put it on their head. I don't need help selling more helmet paint jobs, but there's certain people that I want my work to be on because I appreciate what they're doing. Right. I'm just not at a point to do that. I don't have time.
Right.
Time is the one thing that
That's
painting
just expensive. Time is expensive as fuck.
Time, like people just, when you're young, my dude Joe Kidd always said it best. So when you're, how do you say it? When you're young, you got the time, but you don't have the money, right? That's why you can't ride. That's why you can't do everything. When you get old, you got the money, but you ain't got the time.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the hard thing with like a lot of things that we do. It's like now I don't really have the money, and I don't have the time either. I mean, I'm not poor, and I'm not struggling, right? But I'm not like, all the kids that I went to high school with, they're not kids now, obviously, but the people I went to high school with, they're on their second or third house. I don't own a house, I have a fucking, $500 a month car payment, I don't have a brand new Tahoe. I don't have, there's so many people that do that, right? I live away so that I can do what I do. I live away so I can be here right now, right? I live cheap. I all of my bills in my house and whatnot don't add up to much. But if I paint more bikes, I have more bills. Does that make sense? Yeah. Because materials cost a lot of money. So if I paint more bikes, I have to buy more materials. Therefore, there's more money going out than in. So that's why I have to charge $12,000. Otherwise, there's times when I have $5,000-$6,000 paint bills in a month. And if I only made $10,000 off doing paint jobs that month, that fucking makes no sense.
Right.
You're doing more for less.
Yeah.
Right.
And that was like the whole conversation we had last year, was that I wanted to get away from this because I'm not getting any of this time back, and I want to be fucking happy with the time that I got here. And I'm getting that now. And we were talking about it earlier, like I'm got to figure out the bills are getting paid, but it's also like I'm having another kid. I just want to be happy. I've touched 100K a year, and it didn't make me any fucking happier. And I had no fucking time. I was still missing everything.
Yeah.
I was missing the baby showers. I was missing the fucking weddings. I was missing all of that.
Sounds like all the shit I would want to miss. Let's be real.
Yeah. And now I'm getting to fucking enjoy my fucking
Too late.
time. Yeah.
Well, how was I gonna say this? Fuck. I had it. I lost it.
That's where she goes.
Well, I mean, like you started off with the painting and everything like that.
Yeah.
And then like you started, like now you're slowly moving into doing the social media and YouTube and that kind of stuff. And
I think that was what I was gonna say, something like that. Hold on. Okay, so this is what it is. So painting has been my main source of income since 2004, right?
Right.
And in order to build the podcast, I have to put in 40 plus hours a week on most ends to make the podcast something good, right? That's not so much like I'm on a podcast like right now for 40 hours, obviously. It's all the behind the scenes shit, right? So I have a full-time job with a podcast and a full-time job with paint. And the only way to transition from one career to the next successfully is you have to work 2 full-time jobs.
Exactly.
Because you have to put enough effort and time into this one to grow it while still maintaining the financial needs that you need from this side to fund it, right?
Facts.
So for the last 5 years, I've been burning the candle on both ends, for lack of a better term, to build this podcast up and myself in that space to be good at it, to be valuable enough to trust that I can make the money I need to survive off doing a podcast. And it's just like, it's not just like the money I need to pay the bills. It's the money I need to create more content. That's the thing that people don't understand. I need to be able to go to this place to do a podcast, or bring this guy to me to do a podcast, or ride a bike so I can stay relevant into having a conversation to have with somebody that does this. I'm never going to quit painting because I need that connection to that industry.
To my craft, yeah.
Yeah. And it's a creative outlet that I enjoy. But, you know, the thing is, it's not like one day I just, like, decide to turn the paint switch off and then the podcast switch on and everything's smooth. It's been 5 years of ups and downs, doubting myself, thinking about all the time I've spent away from my wife, from my kids, all the fucking super drunk podcasts that I fucking wish I never said that. You know what I mean? It's a lot of that. It's a lot of that shit. And you just, you know, the next morning, super hungover, you wake up, you're like, fuck, man, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
You know, it's not so much the drinking that I was worried about. I mean, the drinking I've cut back a lot just because it was fun at first, but now it's just not the way I want the world to remember me. I mean, if I died on this trip, I don't want the last podcast of me being fucking super hammered on whiskey. You know what fucking I don't like?
Well, let me tell y'all something. Let me give you my unadulterated opinion.
So
super uneducated, I might add.
We have an audience that there's a big group of people that enjoy those podcasts for some fucking reason.
Because there's sick fucks out there. There's a bunch of these guys running around out there.
I think they enjoy the friendship, the camaraderie that comes of, like, sitting around a table, sharing a few beers and just talking shit. But the legacy content, in my opinion, is finding those great conversations like this, or sharing someone's origin story. Those are the ones that I think that are going to more or less, people will remember our podcast through. People will gain the most value through that. Right. You know, coherent conversations about, you know, people's lives and how that can resonate into those listeners' lives, right? So you want to do more of that. But then I'm also a dude that wants to have fun. So I want a balance of, like, look, it's like Joe Rogan does it. He'll do it, bring the people on that to
neuroscientists.
Yeah. And then protect our parks, dude.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go, right?
Hey, here's a quarter ounce of mushrooms. Everybody take a handful.
Yeah.
And then let's see what happens.
Exactly. I think that it's important to, for at least for me and in my world, is to kind of balance it out with that. But to be more mindful of that, you know, if somebody's coming on the podcast that I've never interviewed and this is something more of an origin story, it's not drink time. Maybe they need a drink to loosen up.
Right.
But it's probably not the best that we put a fucking cooler of beer on the table full of ice, and the next thing you know, we got a fucking mountain of jewels. You know what I'm saying? So
it's the way it goes.
It is sometimes, but, you know, like, I don't know.
And then when I was 3 years old, fucking shoved a finger in my ass and said everything's gonna be all right.
Jesus, fuck. Have you noticed it? Because what I got from you is, like, on an interpersonal relationship, you're very, like, outspoken, you're social, whereas out and about, you're a little bit more reserved.
I'm very introverted.
Yeah, very introverted. That's what I was looking for.
So that's kind of me and Juan were kind of talking about this last night, and it's weird, right? Because I know that if I want to create this space, then I have to be this person, right? Because being quiet, introverted, very soft-spoken, you know, it doesn't create anything that people are going to like. It doesn't create attention towards it, right?
Right.
And I also know that, like, whatever, like, vibe that I put off tends to be the vibe of the room, right? Yeah. So if I put off a more open, you know, good, like, I see it at bike night all the time. It's a small, intimate bike night. So if I come to bike night sometimes and I'm super quiet, kind of looking like I'm pissed off, unapproachable, then it kind of becomes a vibe like that. You know, Jaden's the same way. If Jaden comes to bike night and has that kind of vibe because a lot of people know who he is, it transcends into the rest of the energy in the room. So I understand that, like, if I want to create a good show, then I have to put on, you know, the smile later face or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And
be that guy. And, you know, doing this YouTube stuff is like one of those things where I'm you know, force myself to be more that way, right? Yeah. And just growing up, I've learned that learning how to communicate better is what really creates opportunities.
Right.
Learning how to speak up, but in a way that doesn't push people away, but it just makes people more, like learning to communicate is probably one of the most important things. Like learning to say what you think, what you want, what you need. It probably would help in everybody's marriage or relationships. It would help in everybody's business side of things, friendships. You know, like knowing how to express your feelings without necessarily putting blame on other people or
healthy communication.
Yeah, communication.
Right.
It's like, you know, like so much of that, right? And I think we're all a student in life the entire time to learn that. And it's like we finally figured out when we're 67 and we can't even speak good anymore. You know what I mean? Fuck.
Cause when it comes down to like being introverted and stuff like that, that's me all day. Like in like a small intimate environment, like I'm cool, I could talk to everybody. You know,
I think most of us are that way.
Yeah, but like when we're doing like rides and shit, this fool is over there just smash, just loud as fuck. Fucking Dustin, just I don't know, like Dustin just has like a gravitational pull. People just want to hang out around him, and he doesn't feel like.
I think it's attractive. I think like, when you do it healthy, like you, I mean, there's the energetic person at that 7-Eleven earlier,
right?
Right. I don't really want to be around that person. But when you are someone like that kind of energy,
right?
For me, I like when someone else has that energy because that means that I don't have to entertain people.
Exactly. Yeah.
And because I'm one of those dudes, like if I'm in a room and it seems like everybody's chill, I'm like, okay, well, it's up to me to make sure everybody's happy here.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's definitely not an introverted characteristic.
Mm-hmm.
But if you were to ask people in my family about me, I'm quiet. I go to family events. I don't say shit.
I'm in the back.
Yeah.
Doing my thing.
I'm just not there. And part of me feels like I just don't know. I don't want to say anything that you know might.
It might say something, and you know what I'm saying? They might cause some. Yeah.
If I, you know, I don't know. I think that I know when to follow and when to lead, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that in the same aspect of the aspects of my life where I am more of a leader, I also know that I try to inspire my friends to be leaders as well, so that I can, you know, we all say that, right? But if you really want to have a dynamic group of people, whether it's business, in your relationship, or in your friendships, you want a bunch of fucking doers, people that are followers. I mean, leaders, right? That have leadership characteristics, but also know when to follow as well, because that's part of being a good leader. Is knowing how to follow.
Nice.
You know, and the only way you become a leader is by following enough people to gain the knowledge of how to carry yourself and how to carry this moment.
Right.
You know, riding motorcycles, I've followed behind a lot of people riding motorcycles before I ever led a motorcycle ride. You know what I'm saying? Or traveling on the country, or, you know, business. Even to this day, I know when to shut the fuck up and listen, and when to, you know, all right, I'm going to say what I got to say right now. You know what I mean?
Nice. And it just makes like, for me, it just makes, like, what you have to say hit a little bit more.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because when you sit down and you're listening, like, I'll sit down and I'll listen to a motherfucker talk all fucking day. But, like, you know, and then when I say some shit, it's just like, all right, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
You know?
But sometimes you don't, you know, especially if you don't know a lot of people, and I guess this is the more introverted side of me, is like, I want to know what's out here. What am I working with here? Who are these people?
Right.
You know, let them be the, you know, ones that put all their cards on the table first. You know what I mean?
Thanks.
And then I'll know whether or not they're worth following or whether worth leading, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Or leaving behind.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to leave a motherfucker behind.
Yeah, plenty of those.
Cutting dead weight, baby.
But it's just, man, it's all fucking human experience, man.
Right.
It's what it is. It's just finding different ways to maximize everything that you actually want in life through your everyday actions, right? So, you know, if you want to make more money, then you got to find ways to make more money. But if you're a very empathetic person, you got to find ways to do it to where you feel like you're still providing good value to someone and not like exploiting them for only your benefit, right?
Right.
And I'm a very empathetic person. I'm one of those guys, dude. I was driving home from Oklahoma a couple weeks ago and I killed a bird. I was fucked up, dude.
Oh,
I was like, God damn, dude.
From K River?
No, I was up there working. I was driving home, having a good fucking day too, dude. So happy. And then I just saw this bird in the road, and I'm like, all right, fly up, dude, fly up. And then I just heard it hit. I'm like, God damn it, dude.
Oh,
I know that doesn't really talk about my empathy very much as far as like in the human experience, but it's that way, you know, like I feel a lot, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I'm, you know, ups and downs too, man. You know, You have
what's crazy is like I got clean and all of a sudden I got all these fucking feelings and emotions and shit like that.
That's because your testosterone's down, brother.
It's like it's fucking crazy, dog.
Are you crying on commercials too?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That
Bro.
shit again to me. Them little fucking tsunami babies and shit.
Yes.
Oh, what the fuck?
What?
What the fuck is a tsunami baby?
You know, when a tsunami hits some motherfuckers and
There's just babies.
yeah, the babies just making.
Bro,
Nikes and
you know what fucking crushes me is the welcome home videos, and there's not as many now because people are going on deployment. But you see like a little girl or a little boy see their dad or their mom who they haven't seen. Fuck me up.
I guarantee you, my testosterone is negative something, dude. Because I can hear a song and get emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I can just be fucking nothing going on, and then like. Goddamn Paradise City from Guns N' Roses come on. And I'm like, I don't even like this song. Why am I fucking, why am I sucking it in right now? You know what I mean? So, like, it's a weird thing. I don't know what it happens, like, whether it's just old age or whatever the case, like, things feel more. I feel more.
I think it's the death of our ego. At some point, our fucking ego got crushed a little bit.
Yeah, but my ego's fucking strong, dude.
Yeah?
My ego's got so much testosterone, brother.
That motherfucker's 1200 T, baby. Just fucking rocked up.
That the ego though, that has been one of those like more mindful of it over the last couple of years than ever before because of all the attention that being on a podcast and just the growth of my business has had more towards the ego to where it's like it feels good, right? So I'm chasing that feel. I'm chasing that high of the adulation that you get from people because they like what you're doing or whatever.
The notoriety.
It feels good.
Right.
It's like it's society's way of saying like, hey man, you're doing something cool. Keep doing it.
Yep.
But the ego is kind of like is when like you take the gratefulness of people's reception of what you're doing and then start making you feel like you deserve it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
And I struggle with that a lot. I'll be honest with you. I struggle with it a lot because there are a lot of things I feel like I deserve, but then there's also like the other side of me, the constant battle of trying to be appreciative of what I've gotten, try to also acknowledge that I earned it, which is a little bit of an ego thing, but also trying not to expect it.
The expectation will kill you.
Yeah.
And that's where you develop resentments and it just fucking
I definitely have I am a first year millennial, I think. Depending on where you ask, but I'm an 82 baby, which is technically the first year millennial, but they try to say it's 80 now. They're trying to move the goalposts, if you will. But I do have parts of me in me that are very entitled, right? And I didn't grow up that way. I think that through this industry, I've developed entitlements in certain things. And I hate that. I'm constantly dealing with that. I catch myself in certain conversations. I catch myself on podcasts, and I'm most embarrassed when that side of me comes out. But I think the one thing that people don't realize when they listen to me on a podcast or anybody on a podcast or just when they meet anybody is that these are the kind of things that I think a lot of us struggle with, and we know it exists in us, and we're always trying to work on it, but it slips out.
It does.
It doesn't mean that's who I am as a person. It just means that I'm struggling with controlling that the same way that dude's probably struggling with not touching little kids. You know what I'm saying? That's very extreme, right?
That's a fuck. Can we pick a different analogy?
Yeah.
No, I get what
I
you're
was like,
talking
where the
about.
fuck that fool at?
At the same
I was
breath.
pointing at Rafa.
Oh, that's crazy.
Motherfucker.
No, it's like the same way you would like people deal with depression or something like
Right,
that.
right,
You know what I'm saying?
But at the same time, those that ego or that entitlement didn't just spring up out of nowhere. It came through experience of like being treated or dealt with a certain way to where we now like I feel like that because this motherfucker slighted me.
Yeah.
And who the fuck does he think he is?
A lot of that, man.
And it's just shit we got to work through. That's
yeah,
all.
and that's what I'm doing. I mean, I think being self-aware is one of the most important characteristics to have as a person, and to accept the fact that like, look, I'm trying to be the best version of myself. You know, and I've never gone to therapy and things like that. I've just been fortunate to have a lot of very great mentors in my life that they became my mentors through friendships and through business and things like that, right? People that care about me and you know, respect what I do end up taking a liking, and we talk, and then I gain perspective through them. So, like I said, I know a lot of things about me. I see a lot of things that my dad is, which I'm not really cool with my dad, but I see a lot of things that he is. And when I feel myself doing that, that's when I'm most like, fuck, man, that's not who I want to be.
Damn, dude.
But
I
it's
feel
in
that
me.
so fucking deeply.
My dad's a very, very entitled person. He grew up rich. He is the ultimate entitlement, right? And like I said, that shit's in me. So, I think in my DNA, I just find myself going down these paths and finding ways where, I deserve to be getting the Iwata airbrushes and paint guns. You know what I'm saying?
That
I
shit's
busted
pricey.
my ass
Yeah.
to be here. Why am I not getting it? I think like that. But then I also realize I know that that's not a positive way to go about life, because then you're never going to gain anything because you're too busy thinking everybody owes you something rather than you going to take what you're supposed to be getting, right?
True.
So like I said, for people who listen to my podcast, and I've never really said this on my podcast because my podcast isn't really about me. It's about my guest, right? So, and I'm not trying to make a public announcement like, hey, guys, so look, I'm fucked up.
Don't worry. I'll make a reel about it.
There we go. So, like I said, it's just not something I get to talk about much. And honestly, I've only developed this understanding of myself through doing podcasts, through conversing with other people before and after, during. You just start to learn more about yourself as you talk to more people about who they are, right?
Yeah.
Because you might have similarities. And like, oh man, how do you deal with that? And us men are all sitting here, instead of thinking about like, yeah, I fucked that girl once she was in Playboy, man. Look at this. We're just sitting here talking about our feelings and shit,
Yeah.
Right.
You know where I find it too? 1,000-mile bike ride.
Yeah. And
Dude.
I do a lot of those.
I'll get off the bike sometimes after a long ride and be like, who the fuck am I? What am I doing with my life?
Yeah.
What happened? Or I'll like revisit some trauma from high school, or
Just gets off the bike and starts crying.
yeah. Well, that's why I leave the helmet on.
He's like, I didn't run. I just put gas in my
Fucking-
car.
It's all
Okay,
steamed over on the inside.
Yeah.
It's so hot in here.
There's snot everywhere. It's a good time. Yeah. No, the
Get you a
riding's
modular, dude.
cathartic. I really need to. I'm thinking this. I think it's a Speed Bandit.
Mod Bandit.
Mod Bandit.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the road therapy, man. Like, I think someone said this best on my podcast a long time ago, and I've always regurgitated it. Every 100 miles is another layer of the onion of your mind that you're getting past. Like, the first 100 miles you're thinking about right now, the bike. What are you doing? The second 100 miles you're thinking about the last 2 weeks of your life and what how have things gone, blah blah blah. The next 300 miles you're thinking about, man, where am I at in life? What's going on? Like, just am I on the right path this year? And then you get to this point where you're starting to think about the future and all the things you're doing now. It's just like you really start peeling back these layers in your mind and trying to understand yourself and where you're going and almost like out of body experience,
Yeah.
if you will. You know what I mean? At least that's for me. I don't think that's everybody, because I'll be 400 miles in and pull up next to my boy and he's bobbing his head listening to Limp Bizkit or something.
yeah.
There's no way he's being fucking introspective listening to Limp Bizkit right now.
Right.
He's
thinking
breaking
about that
stuff.
Playboy. Yeah. He's thinking about that Playboy model.
Yeah, so there's like it's different strokes for different folks, obviously, but for me, I found that a lot of times, even though Lexington's one of my sponsors, I don't really listen to music while I ride because I enjoy the silence. I enjoy the alone time in my head,
Right.
and it just helps me. Like on this trip, I've been able to think about a lot of things that I want to pursue over the next year, and different. I'm an overthinker as well, so I'm constantly like I'm playing out scenarios of life in the next 2 years with these plans. Like, what could go wrong? What could go right? Is it worth it? Weighing on my wrist that I can, that I have, that I see, if you will. And, that's what gets me. Next thing you know, I look up, I'm like, oh, shit, like, I just did 100 miles.
Yeah, dude.
You
like blink too. You're like, oh, fuck, I am on a fucking motorcycle.
Yo, shit, dude.
Oh, boy, hold on. Okay. That's exactly how
I
that
think
goes.
I think a lot of the boys actually like listen to music.
Yeah, I mean,
Shit
and
like that.
there's nothing wrong with that. I just think
Like-
that it's, I mean, how many times y'all riding across country?
Not cross country.
Not as many as you.
I mean, you guys, I know y'all did the trip to, like, St. George and all that stuff last year and stuff.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
that's a good rip. It's 1,000 miles, ain't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, but also, like, when you ride alone across country,
That's got to be fucking something different.
that's something,
That
dude.
hits different, huh?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Shit.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. But I would never pass off the opportunity to experience the road with somebody.
Right.
But I do kind of crave the the loneliness. And it's kind of crazy when I'm sitting in the middle of New Mexico thinking, like, is this safe? Am I, if someone attacks me,
should I share?
am I good at fighting?
Am I good? Can I fight? When was the last time we got in a fight?
Is this pocket knife, is it lethal?
Oh my God!
When's the last time I sharpened this
Hey,
motherfucker?
and I hear New Mexico's wild, dog.
Yeah.
The natives out there don't fucking play. You end up on that res, you ain't coming off.
Yeah, so I mean, I think about shit like that, but
I loved a future trip too.
Yeah.
Or like I could be fucking driving down the 8 and I just have this fucking daydream of like, what if this happened? And then I go on a murderous rampage.
Oh yeah. That's my wife's bad at that. Where she like is on the back of the bike. She's like, "What if we wreck right now?" Oh my God, I'm getting anxiety.
Ugh, can you pull over her?
Yeah, I was like, "Don't think like that, babe." I don't have that thought when I ride. Like, I never have. Every once in a while, we go over a really tall bridge. I'm like, "Can I get blown off of here? If the wind blows hard, will it pick me up? Is this motorcycle way enough to hold me down?"
Am I gonna be that guy?
Bridges specifically, I instantly go to fucking Dark Knight Rises, where the Bane gonna blow up the fucking Golden Gate right now, or this bridge? And am I gonna be crossing to Coronado? How good can I swim? Can I swim from the middle of this bay to the shore?
It's cold, dude.
Yeah.
So there's certain bridges like that freak me out over others. Like you go across I'll tell you like two that freak me out. One is the Bay Bridge in San Francisco.
Yeah.
The one where you're underneath the other one.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And you
yeah.
remember that back in the day that motherfucker fell on each other
Yeah.
in the earthquake. Golden Gate doesn't bother me at all. Like, I'm good with that. There's another bridge in Antioch that goes into, like, it's in NorCal as well, and it goes into, like, more of the Delta area.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those, like, 2-lane, super fucking tall bridges. Like, those big arches, that way the boats can pass through.
Yep.
Mm.
And you're just, like, on this upward fucking deal, but you're, like, you're 1 lane wide on this little narrow bridge, and you just feel like there's just not enough earth under me right now. It's not wide enough. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I get a little
We
sweaty
know,
hands
like,
on that shit.
Yeah, we got the Coronado.
Is that what the Coronado
That
Bridge is
shit
like here?
Yeah, that shit ass.
It's 2 lanes, but it goes up, but it bows too.
Yeah,
at the
yeah,
same time.
same. That's what I'm saying.
And
There's like no guardrail.
Yeah, you could literally like hop off your bike and cascade to the fucking.
Yeah, fuck that.
Yeah.
I'll take a ferry.
Where I'm from in Norfolk, there's bridges and tunnels, and I haven't rode a bike through a tunnel. And the roads are also trash in Virginia.
Tunnels don't fucking bother me, dude. We've done a lot of tunnels in like Virginia Beach.
Yeah,
There.
So that's where I grew up. Is the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area.
Yeah, so right there we did a lot of tunnels, and of course going through New York, there's lots of tunnels.
Yep.
Doesn't bother me, man. For some reason.
The walls are leaking and
Yeah,
shit. And
it's
you
like-
can actually see it.
Yeah.
Good.
Hey, this is another
I'll
episode
rev it up in here.
where
Oh Jesus Christ!
New York got brought up, and I ain't have to say
Naturally.
it. Just naturally.
Oh, so you're from New York, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I love
he
New
hasn't
York.
been there in 22 years, but he's resting his laurels
He's
on
probably
that.
got a New York tattoo, huh?
No, he
No, I
doesn't.
don't.
He
I
doesn't
don't
have
have
any
any tattoos.
Shit.
Yeah,
Fucking
no.
jabron.
Smart.
What does
Yeah.
the rest of your trip look like, man? You're obviously coming out for Born Free, but how much longer after that are you gonna?
Oh,
be
dude, I'm leaving as soon as it's over. No.
Sunday.
No, so obviously down here in San Diego, got to spend some time with Juan, who's become a great friend over these last couple of years. I've known, or actually this last year, because I met him when he came and did the podcast last May of last year. I haven't been through San Diego much on a motorcycle. I've been down here in my car because my wife's brother, who was Navy, lived here, so we would come see him and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So I enjoy it. It's meeting more people is cool to have like connections here. I know a lot of people in LA because that's where my wife's from, so we're there a lot, and just business and industry, it's always worked out well. So leaving here, going to see my boy Dave at Lucky Dave's, hang out with him for a little bit. Then I'm gonna try to get up to Long Beach tonight and stay the night, and then I'm gonna go see Saddleman in the morning for some business stuff with the FXR tour. And then tomorrow will be Tuesday, and then tomorrow evening I'm supposed to meet some photographers down in like the LA River to do some photos and
Yeah.
shit. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
Hell yeah.
And then my wife gets in Wednesday, and so we're just gonna kind of like probably go ride the Neptunes and go hit the beach, like just do no business stuff, like just hanging out, right, for Wednesday and Thursday, and then Friday we're gonna mosey down towards the Born Free area, and then head home on Monday. And then I go home for fucking 6 days, and then I'm back on the road with the homies on a Midwest trip.
Damn, that's sick.
Yeah, you were talking about
It
that.
is, but I'm fucking not looking forward to it with this.
Just to get on the road glide.
Nah,
You
can't.
just painted the fucking ST. You got to
Yeah.
fucking.
there's people think, oh, this dude got free parts. Like, no, dude, it's a lot of work.
Oh yeah, that part of
You
it
know,
too.
you got to make content for these people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's your job. And if you don't do it, and if you're not good at doing it, that's what I was saying about stunt riders. Sometimes they have a hard time understanding that their job is to create a draw towards these products that they run on their bikes, not just do a wheelie.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's finding good angles, being a videographer, a photographer, all this shit. Like, I have to do all that, you know, and still find a way to have fun doing this, you know. So not complaining, because I'm riding motorcycles.
I was just about to say, well, if you have any bikes you need me to ride, my man, I got you.
Dude, that's another dude that Chopsky. I know you've had him on your podcast. I'm waiting for that guy to come back out here. We'd love to have him.
Good dude,
on.
man. He's a good dude. He's it's been a very, very pleasurable experience watching him grow. I mean, I don't say that as like somebody that is superior. Like, he's the fucking man with photography and motorcycles, straight up. So as somebody that inspires me to shoot photos, as well as somebody that I've just known for a while now and watched him grow through social media, like his work and how it's progressed and how he's been able to invest more into his equipment and invest more time into his craft. And, you know, those are the kind of things that inspire me. I wish Instagram was just shit like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
dude, his time lapses of his work, like for anybody that knows Adobe products and watching his time lapses on Photoshop, you're fucking blown away. You're like, wow, this dude's masking out everything and like 20 layers on one photo.
Yeah.
You think he just throws a fucking filter on it. Yeah. That's what the rest of the world thinks, right? But if you know what goes into it, it's fucking mind blowing how talented he is.
Yeah, and I mean, it's one of those things that like seeing, you know, the way that he's capturing the world through his lens is like he's leaving a legacy behind that I'm excited to be, that it's a part of my generation, right?
Chopsky photos, right?
Yeah, he shot me just shooting the shit last year with Taylor Schultz at Born Free. He shot a couple when he came to town. We shot a couple of the bike, but we were kind of rushing around to go show him the city of Dallas and then get back and do a podcast.
Right.
So we didn't really do as much, but you know, I find it just fun to know these guys. You know what I'm saying? Like, to know them, and you know, anytime like I do a shot and he's like badass, I'm like, hell yeah, fucking hell yeah.
That's who I am.
Those are real good compliments that you get that makes you feel good about stuff, right?
I like how gritty they look. They look like super gritty. I don't know anything about photos and stuff like that. So like looking at his pictures and stuff like that, it looks really gritty, real.
There's two things about photography that create your style.
Like almost pops.
Yeah. It's how you edit and how you shoot, obviously. Well, the only things about it, right?
Right.
The composition, how you choose to look at the world is the most unique thing about photography, is because most of us emulate what we've seen someone else do. Therefore, there's an originator for that view, that angle, that idea, that composition is what it's called. And then the editing is honestly like still there's still room for growth. Like there's things that haven't been done, right? That's where you can kind of start to, you know, edit in ways that are going to become trendy and not so trendy. You know what I mean? That's going to always be that. But
teal and orange.
Yeah, teal and orange is a very common cinematic kind of vibe that a lot of movies do and stuff. But, you know, with photography, it's got space to allow people to grow, but it's also one of those industries that's almost impossible to make a living at because there's so many people. And this is what fucked me up, right? A friend of mine told me this one day. He goes, and I don't want to discredit him telling me by saying I kind of knew this, but I'm going to say it anyway because I just did.
Unrealized.
When every bit of photography you consume it through your phone, which is a backlit like camera that's this size. Maybe you got a Max iPhone or fucking a big dog Galaxy or some shit like that.
I got a straight up 10.
Oh yeah, dude, I saw that, man. I was like, ooh. That's like a flip phone, bro.
Yeah, grow up.
Yeah,
it's all good. We still out here.
We need a button for that one. What the fuck?
Yeah. We still out here. We're surviving.
When I started printing things, that's when shit changed. And I think that so many people don't value photography because they only look at it in the same space on their phone through Instagram, which is a downgraded version of the quality of the photo that you put out there. But if you were to ever go to someone's house and they have a huge photo of something, you know, and it's good. It's a good photo. That's impactful. Like, that's how photography is meant to be seen, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Like, different. Like, not the same. Like, every photo looks the same on your phone because everything has the same lit up background, right? It looks like everything's like, it's crazy. It's I'm trying to find a way to describe it, right? But when you go to like the Harley Museum or something like that, and you see these old photos, or you go to I'm trying to think, like
A modern art museum.
yeah, but who the fuck does that, right?
I was like,
Me, the fucking lame.
Lame.
this guy.
No, but like I'm trying to think of like some places I've been where I saw photography that really kind of floored me. Maybe like when I went to Indian Larry block party once, and being in Indian Larry's shop, they had a lot of great photography of him.
Right.
That kind of really resonated.
Yeah, he's been around forever.
He's not around anymore, but he's been around.
His brand's like
His
been
brand,
around
yeah, for sure.
forever.
Photography, I just feel like is. I think that as a world of consumers, we've been consuming it the same way. Therefore, we've all started to create the same way.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that it's something I've actually been wanting to do. I want to create like an art show for photographers within the motorcycle community, right?
But man, you got like way too many. You like
Yeah, I like that though, because
that's
you
a lot.
create for all these guys that are doing it, and then you sublimate their artwork, or you just get regular prints and you come in. My homeboy is the one I was telling you about before the show. He's a DOP. He films for a fuck ton of people. Red Bull, World Surf League. I have one of my favorite photos of his is right above my desk, and it's shooting through the 5. There was this hole in the fence on the overpass.
Okay.
And it's a fucking time lapse where there's white lights going this way and red lights going the other. And there's like graffiti, like little tags on the fucking metal pole holding it. There's just so much detail that because I have this fucking metal print, I can see all this. I can see the fucking plane. I can see the airport. I can see downtown. I don't get that when I look at the phone. I have to fucking pull it open and zoom in. But when it's a fucking metal, tangible print right in front of me, there's more to grab.
Yeah.
I think 2 things people should do more of. 1, stop and watch the sunsets because they're badass, right? And it'll change your mood. You can't be pissed off watching the sunset. Think about it. It's like the old Tosh.0 bit. You ever seen a pissed off person on a jet ski?
No.
Right?
Fuck no.
It's like a sunset. Who's pissed off watching that? You're like, dude, what the fuck, man? Fucking up my sunset, bro. And second, like, everybody has a home. If you listen to this podcast, you got a fucking house, right? You live somewhere.
Yeah.
Right.
Go fucking buy real stuff to put on the wall. Photography doesn't cost a lot of money. To hit somebody up that's on Instagram that like makes something, whether it's a Chopsky or the homie here, I forget his name.
Big Lou?
No. Does a lot with the stunt scene a lot.
Josh.
Oh, Josh.
Josh, yeah.
That's
So
my homie.
I got Josh to shoot my bike back in Sturgis a long time ago, and I still have the file that I want to print and put in the studio because I'm great story how I met him. We'll say that for another podcast. But buy something. It doesn't even have to be from motorcycles, just anybody, right? Buy something real, not from Target, and put it on your wall and appreciate that somebody went and took that photo. And if you buy stuff that you actually are drawn to that likes, and you put that in your house instead of all these cliche things, home is where the heart is, and shit like
Live,
that.
laugh, love.
Who the fuck wants to see that? Like, that's in your home supposed to be an inspiring place to be.
Yes.
Right.
A sanctuary.
Right.
That's not, you don't, that's like people saying that the national anthem is the best song ever.
It's
right?
not.
Nobody fucking puts that on their phone. Nobody jams that out.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
So why would you put this shit that's supposed to be like that? Like, if you need words like that to inspire you, like human resource office stuff, you know what I mean? Like, that's not inspiring. I think that if you go out and you find images in the world through photographers or whatever the case may be that inspire you, that make you feel a certain way, then put those in your home, you might change the way you feel every day when you go up and see it.
Yeah, I like what you were talking about, like having like a gallery for these guys.
Yeah, that's the
like
plan.
That, like that'd be dope. Like,
I got so much plans,
bro. I was just sitting down here like listening to you. I was like, dude, I'm exhausted.
Yeah,
my man, you got the FXR tour. You got to go do. You got to head back to Texas, and then he's coming back for Born Free, right?
No,
he's here all week until Born Free.
So then you're doing you're doing Born Free, then you're gonna smash back out to Texas, then you're gonna smash up to the Midwest, and then you're gonna do the FXR tour, right?
Oh no, the FXR tour is in October. I go to Sturgis after that, then come home. Then me and the boys are doing a September trip to finish all 48 states together. So we got to go east and hit 3 states that we missed going east: West Virginia, South Carolina, and Florida. We've ridden all these states.
You saved
not
the
together.
best for last. Huh?
Yeah. So
So-
no Four Corners for you?
No, unfortunately, I can't. I mean, it's just
Out of the way.
Yeah, it's out of the way and
Right.
whatnot. And but yeah, I mean, the thing is, it's like it. Whatever this is, the Fast Life Garage, whatever attention it has, whatever the podcast has, I'm just trying to do something with it. Yeah, I'm throwing darts, man. I'm throwing darts in things that I like, that I feel like are natural things that I'm happy to be a part of. I'm not forcing myself to do anything I don't want to do, and I love photography. And I see I see something that I think could be better, and I think that finding a way to create something that makes photographers the highlight of the event, which it's gonna be tough. Like, why would you jump in an airplane and come to this event? So I got to make this event somehow inspiring enough to get you to either jump in an airplane or ride your bike across country to come to it.
Right.
Right?
You probably do like an indoor
No,
Born Free, like especially like when you have like guys like Josh and Chopsky who have shot so many fucking riders.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you think of like all those riders just put their fucking bike in front of their photos, lights out.
Yeah, so that's a lot of space.
That's what I'm saying. Like an indoor.
Yeah, well,
Mhm.
indoor stuffs cost $10,000, $20,000, $30,000.
Yeah.
So you have to have more. It's a lot that goes into it. You got to think about, like, well, how do I? This is a different experience. This experience becomes like, a Mama Tried or the One Moto Show or something like that, which
Right.
those exist. And I wouldn't mind putting my name in that hat to create something along the lines of that, but with our own twist.
Mm.
And that's kind of in the works-ish, but in the works meaning nothing's on the table yet. It's in the works in the head, right?
Right.
But I do want to create something that focuses on the artists of this industry over the brands of this industry, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the artist is what props up a lot of the brands.
Yep.
Native photo. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Speed Kings, my boy up there, great dude. But you got all this great photography coming from Native Photo out of there that we need to exploit this dude. He's creating pieces of work that's badass. All the people that are working with Hot Bike Magazine now. Hell Joshua,
Our homie LRK Design, Londas, he is the one who does our fucking designs. Yeah, he does your
mine,
fucking design.
So a lot of these people, like, creating a way for them to create a place to exploit themselves, maybe make something that they can sell to people. And you could come in and you could buy like some prints from Josh or Chopsky, or buy some original badass stuff that they're probably going to charge more for, that's framed and set up.
Mm-hmm.
But give each one of these guys space to show the world what they do.
Mm.
And they got to get creative. Get Bent Moto is another one of those who's been doing this kind of stuff and creating vendor spaces where he has a lot of cool shots of bikes on metal prints and he sells them.
Yep.
And I'm not trying to like hate on that or anything, because I think it's amazing what he's doing. I've always been held back from doing that. Like, why would somebody buy a picture of somebody else's bike? But then you think about it, like,
That's
maybe our scene doesn't, but the rest of the Hell Yeah brothers that exist in this world do.
That's garage pieces.
It's garage pieces. So I thought about, well, I wouldn't mind taking photos of stuff and making posters out of it. It might not be a print that's going in your living room. I mean, let's be real. That's a lot of conversation with the old lady and bargaining to get that kind of real estate, right?
Yeah.
Facts.
But at the same time, if you can find a way to bring motorcycles into photography that doesn't seem like an Instagram post, then maybe it can fit in the living room. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know who does a really good job of that? Terry.
Which Terry?
Like Black Terry.
Oh yeah. Depiction.
It's the only way I can say. That's what he goes
That's
by.
that's what he goes
Instagram.
by.
Y'all supposed to be the most woke people in America out here. What's up with all this racism?
Yeah. Unbelievable. I forget you're from fucking Dallas. Y'all getting woke out there.
Aw.
What's red is turning purple, baby.
Nah, it's not. We're not getting red. Y'all just keep moving over here.
I
I can't stand the politics out there. Let me go here, and then like, oh, you can't do that.
Why are y'all so Christian? What's up with your Christian values?
Oh, we don't have that either. We do have mega churches. That's big.
You got
out
some
in
Joel
Texas.
Osteen out there.
Oh yeah.
God,
Well,
dang.
got to support the hustles, man.
Hey, for real. religion is the best business on earth, baby.
Dude, I thought about starting churches so many times.
Oh, God.
Just peddling Jesus, dude.
Come on. Hey, the best-selling book of all time, the Bible. Come on.
No, remix that shit.
Yeah, put a spin on it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'll turn to Jace 312.
Oh, God.
And he roasted the front wheel off the ground.
Oh, my God. What should people look out for the rest of it? We're at the halfway point of 2023.
Man.
What's the last 6 months look like for the Fast Life Garage?
Well, I'm still pursuing heavily with the YouTube. That's something I really want to. I'm trying to give myself this year to learn the way I want to show the world my day to day, right? And it still feels super fucking egotistical to even think that people care, right? But apparently they watch everybody else, so fuck it, I'm throwing my name in the hat, right?
That's right.
I do enjoy making videos. I enjoy that aspect of it. So I want to really practice and get proficient and consistent with that, and continue to like find ways to improve everything that I do, whether it be the podcast or, painting obviously as well. I do not plan to carry my current shop into 2024. I don't want to have a paint shop anymore. That's going away.
The whole get down, you're just going to move?
I don't know. I don't want to
Have the overhead?
I don't want the overhead. I don't mind having overhead, but I want it to be for a new venture.
Okay.
Right? And I feel like I've been talking about it for years, and unless I just put a fucking, just force myself to go into a thing, I can change it, right? I'm not saying I'm not going to paint anymore, because I still have a lot of great customers, and I still want to stay relevant, because that's my fallback for everything in life. But I'm blessed to have a lot of friends that have shops, and helmets don't take up a lot of space to create. So I'm going to be okay in that aspect. I'll still paint every month. But I'm not going to be painting a lot of bikes. I'm not going to be offering a lot of helmets. A lot of the helmets will only be going to the current customer base that really consistently work and buy helmets from me, which I'm, once again, very fortunate to have people that buy multiple helmets a year. That's why I haven't taken a helmet in since almost last summer.
Damn.
Because the current customers I have will do 3 a year. And these guys pay money. They let me do what I want to do. And they appreciate everything you know what I mean? So, fuck, why am I going to, I can't do another one for you.
Yeah, fuck no.
It's too good.
It's too good. You've already had a taste of a good thing.
Yeah, so, and it allows me to focus more energy on creating things. I want to create an indoor event. I want to, so as far as the rest of the year, I just want to continue to focus on getting the FXR tour done, getting the build done on my end, which I will not be doing next year. So getting that done and continue to just have all these irons in the fire, and I'm gonna start pulling some of them out slowly. That way I'm left with only a couple things, and I want to hyper focus on the podcast, the YouTube next year, and try to take our content to the next level up. Just like when we started doing video, we kind of learned that space, and we've been there for going on 4 years now with the video stuff. So now that's kind of that's the norm. You guys got video now. So now I need to figure out what's the next step to move it. And then once I figure out that shit, I'll be able to share that knowledge with you guys. You know what I'm saying?
Blows me away how fucking open you were with that. You didn't gatekeep any of this for us. This wouldn't be a thing if you didn't answer my text message. Mm-hmm. And that meant a lot, dude. I was going on my salutation. I was going to fucking give you the but we'll do it right now. I fucking could not be more grateful for everything you've done for us.
He's about to suck you out.
Oh yeah, whip that fucking yeah. You have helped me elevate this podcast to what I'd always hoped and dreamed it would be, and you did it fucking effortlessly, and I really appreciate that.
Well, one thing that I think that everybody should do, and I'm trying to practice what I preach, is I think that we can all build our own legacy within what we do, but our legacy has to be carried on through other people that we help. That's where it helps, right? So, and not saying that this is legacy shit, but I'm just saying that's a small fry of information that I struggled to learn. That it wasn't like you didn't already invest in podcast equipment. You had already been doing it, and you reached the point of wanting to go to the next level. So I appreciate the effort you put in to get there. Therefore, I had no problem giving you the information you needed to get to the next spot. Now, if you hit me up and say, hey, man, I want to start a podcast, how do I do it? you're not getting shit from me.
Yeah.
Because you haven't tried. You haven't invested yet.
Right.
So I respect the investment, and that's why I'm willing to help people. But I'm not willing to help people that don't put the time in and help. Because if you put the time in, you're going to ask the right questions, and I can give you the right answers, right?
Yep.
But if you don't put the time in, you're asking me the big vague question. Like, I just have all the fucking time in the world to run through on a text message on Instagram how to do this. Like, come on, bro.
Miss me. Yeah.
Don't
Same
make
way.
me be an asshole.
Don't make me do this to you.
Yeah.
Like, next.
Oh, man, I really appreciate you coming on again. It's been an
For sure,
absolute
dude.
banger episode. I hope you have a fucking great week. If you're not doing anything Friday and you want to come down to San Diego House of Blues, you're more than welcome to come to Emo Night.
That's a long drive, buddy.
I know. For music that you probably don't even like.
It's like Black Charlotte or some shit? Or?
Yeah, all that.
Tonight would be the night that I will fall for you over again. They're going to fuck around and get demonetized on YouTube singing.
Yeah. Singing. Unbelievable. But yeah, I would
You'll be good. It wasn't that good. You're good.
I was like, fuck.
I will definitely see you this Sunday. I'm going to be fucking doing a ride from here up, so I'm going to bring like 30 Jagaloons with me, and we're going to have a fucking good time.
I'm excited, man. Born Free's a good time.
So good. Maybe I'll win that raffle bike this year.
Good luck.
A man can wish. A man can dream. Rafa, you got any parting words?
Hey, man, it was a pleasure.
Yeah, for sure.
Like always, man. You know.
Appreciate it.
Got any more buttons for the end of this?
Let me see. I got this.
All right.